You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1483 1483 Chapter 341, Xia Huyo's Request 1. Nature Garden. In the villa area, Su Yu and Xia Huyo were drinking tea. After drinking for a while, Xia Huyo smiled and said, "There's no point in drinking tea all the time. You're already an adult. How about some wine?" Su Yu looked at him and was a little surprised. It wasn't that cultivators didn't drink, but young cultivators rarely drank. Drinking made things worse. The old man had met him together, so it was normal for him to drink a few cups. Drink a cup. Xia Huyo looked at him, and Su Yu nodded. Xia Huyo smiled and took out a jar of wine from his storage ring. He said with a smile, "My second grandpa hid this, and I stole it. He thought it was lost. It's 100-year-old wine, and it tastes pretty good. Your second grandpa didn't beat you to death. He couldn't bear to. If he beat me to death, who would inherit the Xia family?" Xia Huyo laughed and lifted the wine lid. The fragrance wafted in the air. He poured a cup for Su Yu and filled his own cup. He raised his cup, clinked it with Su Yu's, and drank it all in one go. Su Yu silently accompanied him and drank slowly. Xia Huyo filled his own cup again. He smiled and said, "Brother, tell me the truth. In your eyes, isn't an invincible descendant extremely glorious and arrogant? He deserved to die, and 9 out of 10 of them are not innocent." Su Yu calmly said, "I don't think so. I don't hate the rich, nor do I hate the second generation of the Wu family. I only hate those who target me. Whoever targets me, regardless of their identity, I will hate them." Su Yu was very calm and smiled. He slowly said, "I'm a person who holds grudges. I'm narrow-minded. I've been like this since I was young. If you don't offend me, then I can't be bothered to offend you. If you offend me, I can't do anything about it now. Sooner or later, I'll have to think of a way to kill you." Ha ha ha. Xia Huyo laughed, straightforward. Direct. Speaking of which, you're actually more satisfied than us. There are some things that we want to do but can't do. Take me for example. I have too many things that I want to do. Actually, I have the ability to do them, but I have too many considerations. I have too many considerations. There's no other way. He laughed. Take today as an example. That Zhou Pachong came over and kept on nagging. I was thinking that the Xia family is something that he can nag about. He could get someone to kill them with a single slash. But when I turned my head, I thought, no way. If I kill them, then the Xia family will be in big trouble. Just like in the past, that Zhou Ping Xing Yu Hong and the others kept on tormenting them. I was thinking, why not drag all of them to the pit of the 10,000 clans to be killed? But then I thought, no, killing them is just looking for trouble for the great Xia family. In this day and age, killing people for no reason is not good even if you are an invincible family. Su Yu listened quietly and did not say anything. Xia Huyu drank another cup and exhaled, "Brother, do you know what I want to talk to you about?" "I don't know." Su Yu raised his glass and took a small sip. It was a little spicy and made him more focused. Xia Huyo took a deep breath and quickly said, "I want a batch of things and I need your help. How about you sponsor some of them?" Su Yu raised his eyebrows. "You want Sky Vitality Chi?" Xia Huyo was stunned for a moment and looked at him with a blank expression. "You still have this?" Su Yu was also stunned. F***CK, that's not it. Then why do you sound like your second grandpa? I thought Master Xia Ho told you that you specially came here. The two of them looked at each other. Xia Huyo blinked his eyes. After a long while, he nodded frantically. "I want this. I want as much as you have. Money is negotiable. Suyu opened his mouth, but did not say anything for a long while. After a long while, he said speechlessly, "Say what you wanted to say before." "No, what I wanted to say before was the heaven yuan qi." "Stop bullshitting." Suyu was speechless. "That was not what you said before." Xia Huyo laughed dryly, and very soon. He returned to normal and said, "Actually, it's nothing much. I want a few cultivation techniques, and I don't know if you have them. First, those that can stimulate the physical body can quickly advance, but there are side effects. These cultivation techniques usually have side effects, so there's no way about it. Second, is there any kind of combination?" Xia Huyu thought for a moment and said, "It's that kind of, you know about soul-devouring bugs, right? You've also studied the soul-devouring art, but what I need is not the soul-devouring art, but a combination cultivation technique. Do you understand what I mean?" Suyu nodded. "It's the same as the bug race. Tens of thousands of them have accumulated battle strength, and the number of bugs killed the dragon. I know that." Xia Huyo let out a sigh of relief. "It's this kind of cultivation method. 10,000 people working together can accumulate and display their strength. Do you have this kind of cultivation method?" Suyu didn't answer, but asked again, "Do you have more?" "Of course." Xia Huyo nodded, "There's another type. It's the type of cultivation technique that seals the sea of will. Do you know what I mean? It's completely sealed. Since you don't cultivate the sea of will, it's not good for the enemy to use their willpower to harm your cultivation technique. There are definitely many disadvantages to this type of cultivation technique, but it doesn't matter. I need it." Suyu thought for a moment and said, "To sum it up, it's about the speed of improvement. It's about being able to work together and have a strong physical body. However, it doesn't matter if it's willpower or not. It's just a powerful puppet anyway." "Yes, that's what I mean." Suyu couldn't help but laugh. "Aren't the strongmen of the two holy lands using this method to create them? That won't do. It's too weak." Xia Huyo shook his head. "It's best if it's the kind that can be upgraded to the level of mountain and sea of Lingyun. If we combine our strength, we can kill the sun and the moon. We don't expect to kill invincible, but it's best if we can kill the sun and the moon." Suyu recalled the cultivation techniques that he had mastered. After a while, he said, "There are similar ones, but they consume a lot of resources, and the price is very high. In addition, the person who cultivates actually consumes his or her life to fight. He or she could originally live to 500 years old, but after cultivating, he or she might only live to 100 years old or even less." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1484. 1484 Chapter 341, Xia Huyo's Request 2. "Yes, that's it." Xia Huyo's eyes lit up, "That's it, I don't care about the rest." Suyu looked at him, "Your Xia family has the martial dragon guards, what do you need this for?" "The martial dragon guards are the martial dragon guards, I need to recruit some subordinates for myself, I need to be quick. As for not living for long, it's okay, there are still many people loyal to the Xia family in the great Xia mansion, I will give them a sufficient price." Suyu frowned, "The dragon martial guards, the demon suppression army, and the mansion army have over 1 million people. Is that not enough?" "Not enough." Xia Huyu said in a low voice, "Although the mansion army has many people, their strength is low. As for the dragon martial guards, they are all young generation with good talent. Don't harm them. I will mainly use some older people who have no ties and are loyal to the Xia family. It's like they want to seize the throne." Suyu said with a smile that was not a smile, "Do you have that many resources and funds?" "I have some capital." Xia Huyo grinned. Very quickly, he raised his eyebrows and said, "Brother, there are still some things, can you sponsor them?" For example, blood essence, or heaven yuan qi. Su Yu sneered, not a small appetite. It's all right. You've grown fat, and your appetite is quite good. Xia Huyo smiled and said, I'll pay. At most, I'll owe you a little. Su Yu looked at him deeply and drank a glass of wine. He exhaled and said, Is there a need for that? Yes. Xia Huyo also drank the wine. After a long while, he said, I want to pass on the Xia family's legacy. I want the great Xia mansion to be able to stand up forever. I don't want the great Xia mansion to disappear from the human realm when it reaches my generation. My father, my second grandfather, and my great-grandfather are all prepared. What preparations? Were they prepared for the destruction of the great Xia mansion? Su Yu was silent for a while before he nodded. It's easy to do things with money. There's no need for money. I need blood essence, a large amount of blood essence. Xia Huyo bared his teeth. Do you have a cultivation technique that can extract heaven's origin qi from blood essence? Take a guess. Su Yu gave a faint smile. Do you want to take a guess? Ahem, forget it, I won't guess anymore. Xia Huyo laughed, it's meaningless not to guess this. It just so happens that I need to use it myself. I will be casting my body very soon. The more, the better. The Xia family also has some foundation. I hope that we can build a strong private army as soon as possible so that we won't end up with no soldiers to use. After saying that, he smiled and said, in the future, if you need it, I can bring troops to save you. How about it? No need, I don't need it. What are you saying? With your character, you will get into trouble sooner or later. I will bring troops to save you. How romantic. Su Yu looked at him, and Xia Huyo chuckled. Don't look at me like that. I like women. Ha! Su Yu's face was full of mockery, and he quickly said, Don't say such nonsense. How did you recognize me? It's too simple. Someone died in Nanyuan, and I guessed that you came out. When second grandpa said it, I knew it was you. I couldn't be bothered to expose you. After Xia Huyo said that, he smiled again and said, You went to look for old Zhao the moment you came. How could I not know what you were thinking? With old Zhao's temper, how could anyone care about him? He even thinks highly of his juniors. Nonsense. I don't see old Zhao thinking highly of me. That's because you're trash. If you say so. Xia Huyo laughed and continued to drink. After drinking for a while, he said with a smile, Tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, there will probably really be beauties from the deity race coming. Do you want me to arrange a few for you? Su Yu looked at him and did not say a word. Xia Huyo said playfully, If Cui Lang isn't Lang, then is he still Cui Lang? And it's not just for fun. I can't be a harmless little fatty anymore. I have to become more profligate and shrewd. I can even, secretly discuss the marriage alliance with the immortal race. Celestials. Yes. Xia Huyo beamed and said, Do the Celestials like it? It's very stylish. Can't my father verify his Tao? It's not good to collude with Celestials and devils. Then collude with Celestials. Brother, I might have to marry a fairy in the future. Marrying Celestials and devils will be opposed by those in the human realm. Marrying a fairy is not something that can be opposed. Even the great Qin King and the others can't say no. And the Celestials also want to enter the human realm. Am I not giving them a chance? Su Yu frowned and looked at him, Fairy. The corpse is quite beautiful. I've seen it. Do you want to see it? And it likes to fart. Are you sure you want it? I want it, I want it, I don't want it. I want it. Xia Huyo narrowed his eyes and said, It doesn't matter. It's not bad to hook up with a few. Up to you. Su Yu did not want to say anything else. This was not because Xia Huyo wanted to hook up, but because he had a plan. Su Yu could not be bothered to get involved. Why don't I introduce you to someone who can save your life at a critical moment and bring you back to the immortal world? There's no need. You don't know how to flirt. Xia Huyo laughed and quickly said, do you need my help to do anything? It's not good for you to come out now. Su Yu did not say anything more and casually threw a storage ring to him. After I leave, I'll hand it over to my master. Forget about it now. I'm afraid that my master will feel inferior when he sees it. You bastard. Xia Huyo couldn't help but laugh. All right, I will pass it to him. Is there anything else you want to say? Help me check the information about the people my uncle master killed. Also, find out who went to my house and what they did. Also, give me a complete list of the aboriginals. I want it to be complete and extremely complete. Xia Huyo frowned and said, you want to go to the Zhu Tian battlefield? Too smart. You won't live long. Su Yu had a profound meaning, but Xia Huyo did not care about this. He continued, you still want to use this trick? Then it would be best if this person really exists. However, he is missing, and he is not dead. He has to be a genius. The 10,000 clans actually know that this person exists, but this person is missing. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1485. 1485 Chapter 341 Xia Huyo's request show subscribe, 3. Su Yu frowned at him. Xia Huyo said calmly, why are you looking at me? Is it hard to guess? If you want to pretend to be a genius, let me tell you, give up, it's not that simple. When a genius suddenly appears, do you think it hasn't happened? Are you the only smart person in the world? Are you the only one who knows how to disguise yourself? In the end, you were either killed or your identity was quickly exposed. Did you really think it was that simple? Also, the aboriginals are the hardest to disguise. They all have special abilities. Are you trying to use your innate blood essence to disguise yourself? This gives you more confidence than others. Thinking of this, he added, it would be best if they are from the same faction as the gods and devils. It would also be very troublesome if they are enemies. I will help you look into this later. This information is very secretive. If you really can't. He looked at Su Yu, squinting his eyes, he said, I will help you think of a way. The big families have more or less left a way out. For example, they have a secret relationship with a certain clan. At the critical moment, they can send their descendants to take refuge. They have already prepared some identities in secret. Of course, it is best not to use this. No one knows if those people who are on good terms with you will sell you at the critical moment. Su Yu drank his wine. After a while, he sighed and said, I shouldn't have told you all this. Your brain is quite active. You didn't tell me everything in the past, but this time, it's like a broken pot that's broken. Xia Huyo shook his head, it's to let you understand that there are really many smart people in the world. You're too careless. Even the slightest hint of a clue will be noticed by others. Do you think that your identity hasn't been exposed? My guess is that there are probably more than 10 people who know your identity. However, the enemies don't really understand you, so they don't really care about it. If they understood you, they would quickly discover the flaw. Su Yu nodded, the main reason is that your strength is too low, and your concealment ability is too weak. It's not too bad. Xia Huyo muttered, are your strength still too low? If you say so, then I should die. Also, it's best if you don't outline any divine inscriptions related to invincibility or use any cultivation techniques related to them. Otherwise, you'll be easily seen through. Invincibility is much stronger than you think. Also, if you're injured, don't leave anything behind. You've seen it yourself today. Under the time reversal, you'll leave behind everything. Pavilion Master Chen is much more experienced than you. Speaking up to this point, Xia Huyu hesitated for a moment, then, he said, also, I'll make a few lists for you on Pavilion Master Chen's side. If you can contact him, it's best to contact him. Don't walk into a trap. Everyone isn't stupid. They've more or less seen through something. Those people are more or less stained with the blood of multiple divine languages. Suyu nodded and sighed. As expected, this human realm was much more complicated than he had imagined. Too many people understood in their hearts, but they were just pretending to be muddle-headed. Perhaps this matter had nothing to do with them, or they had other plans. In any case, those people were killed by Qin Yong, so everyone knew in their hearts. Not only did they know, they had even guessed why he killed these people, and who might be killed next. Also, invincible divine prose, then would the great Han King and great Song King have already seen through him today? The Silkworm Extermination King already knew, but what about the other two? Suyu sighed again. As expected, outstanding people could not hide their brilliance no matter where they went. The two drank and chatted, and after a while, Xia Huyo burped and said, last but not least, I have to remind you of one thing. Go to the heavenly battlefield, and it's best not to see your father. There are people monitoring your father's surroundings, and there are even people who suspect that your father knows where the ruins are. And so does Instructor Lu. Even if you use another identity to get close, it will quickly fall into the eyes of some people. If you think of some other things, your identity will be quickly exposed. If you are exposed, you might not be able to leave. Suyu frowned. It's that serious? Nonsense, you don't think it's serious? Xia Huyo smiled and said, but if you really want to see him, actually, it's not impossible, but it's best to meet him openly and not secretly. Aren't you Cui Lang? Just say that you're Su Yu's friend and want to see him, or that you're going to meet him under Zhu Tiandao's banner. This is better than meeting him in secret. Of course, it's best not to meet him. He reminded him again, and Suyu nodded. Let's wait and see. The main purpose of this trip was to see his father. There's nothing else. Great Xia Mansion won't be in chaos for the time being. Don't worry, your master and the others are safe and sound. After saying that, he hesitated for a moment before saying, as for your senior sister, I suggest sending her to the Great Ming Mansion to accompany that Nostril Wulan. There's no point for her to stay here. Instead, it will increase the burden on her. Suyu pondered for a moment before saying, I'm afraid that she won't leave. That's why you have to personally persuade her. Just say how amazing it is over there. She went for 3 months to soar into the sky, 1 year to Lingyun, 3 years to the mountains and seas, 5 years to the sun and moon, and 10 years to become invincible. I believe that you can trick her into taking it seriously. F*CKU. Suyu couldn't help but laugh. You're the one who's trying to trick me. I never lie. Well, thinking of this, he didn't believe it himself. The two of them chatted for a while before Xia Huyo left. He promised to provide Suyu with a batch of blood essence and a large amount of blood essence. However, he also needed to provide him with some heaven origin chi and other things. He needed these. After he left, Suyu frowned. He did not say anything before, but Xia Huyo actually wanted to recruit a private army. Did this guy think that the Dragon Martial Guards would be finished, or did he think that the Dragon Martial Guards would not listen in the end? With Xia Huyo and Lord Xia Ho's reminder, he more or less understood the Xia family's thoughts. Sighing in his heart, Suyu stopped thinking about it. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1486. 1486 Chapter 341, Xia Huyo's request. Show subscribe. 4. Continue cultivating. This time, he had gained a lot from forging weapons. His physical body was 10, and his willpower was even stronger. He had also drawn 2 divine runes, Zhen, and He. One was an innate divine rune, and the other was an invincible divine rune. Moreover, after forging weapons for many days, his willpower had also become stronger. The God-expanding hammer felt much stronger than before. In addition, Suyu had also gotten himself a black-rank pinnacled literary soldier. All in all, his strength had increased greatly. He was much stronger than when he assassinated that 9th-level Ling Yun. On the second day he stayed behind, Suyu followed Xia Huyo and walked around. In the great Xia mansion, he did see many descendants of experts. These people might join Hong Tan's polytheistic college next semester. Suyu wasn't very interested in these people, and his expression was the same. If he could talk about women, he would talk about them. If he couldn't talk about them, he wouldn't pay too much attention to them. After a few days, the descendants of experts from the great Xia manor also knew this fellow's character. He was very arrogant, but he wasn't too arrogant. If he could talk about women, he would be willing to talk to anyone. As for the others, they were all high and mighty, and he generally didn't participate. He wandered around during the day, and at night, Suyu extracted blood essence and cast his body. His willpower was also constantly being forged. The great Xia manor was an explosive barrel, but it had not exploded yet. At this moment, Suyu's strength was not enough to participate for the time being. It did not matter, he could not participate for the time being, so he had to increase his strength to participate as soon as possible. This time, he had to participate. He had to participate because the core of the great Xia manor was actually Hong Tan and the others. These people were the fuse that ignited all of this. Even Xia Huyo felt a strong sense of danger, so Suyu naturally felt it. After strolling around for 3 days, Suyu was ready to leave. And today was also the day when the God and Devil students arrived. June 5th. Great Xia Civilization Academy. Today, the students from the various large clans were about to arrive at the academy. There were many people who wanted to watch the show. Suyu also walked out and followed the crowd to watch the show. The students from the myriad clans hadn't arrived yet, but on the way, he met an acquaintance. Suyu actually didn't want to bother with him. This guy was very shrewd. However, this guy came up to him by himself, so he had to deal with him a little. Brother Cui. A few steps away, Lu Hong came over with a smile on his face. He chuckled and said, "Brother Cui, are you also going to see the students from the myriad clans? You're not familiar with the situation. Why don't I go with you? You are. Brother Cui, have you forgotten? I had dealings with Brother Cui a few years ago. Lu Hong, do you still remember?" Suyu said perfunctorily, "I remember. Brother Lu, we went to Yi Hong restaurant together a few years ago. You said you were treating, but the one who didn't pay." Lu Hong laughed dryly. "Damn it, did you misremember?" Alright, they weren't familiar with each other anyway. They had indeed met once and were just trying to get close to each other. As for whether they were familiar with each other or not, it didn't matter. Very quickly, Lu Hong smiled and said, "Yes, it was that time. Brother Cui has a good memory. I still remember it." Suyu was also speechless. How could you even acknowledge this? This fellow was just a piece of sticky candy. Brother Lu, is something the matter? How could it be? I was just chatting with Brother Cui. I was afraid that you might not be familiar with it. Let me introduce the situation to you. Lu Hong followed him. At the same time, he smiled and said, "It's like this, Brother Cui. Are you interested in forging some peak stage profound class soldiers for sale? I have connections. The price is not low. Brother Cui, you are roaming the world. You should at least have some merit points on you so that you would not be short of money." "I'm not interested." "Don't." Lu Hong hurriedly smiled and said, "Brother Cui, you're not interested in money, but what about women?" "Brother Cui, I know some good stuff." "You're treating?" Suyu looked at him with his eyes slanted. Don't think about it. I'm a lazy person. I don't sell weapons. It's boring. Seeing this, Lu Hong looked around and said in a low voice, Brother Chui, I know you don't like things like money and wealth. There's something you'll definitely be interested in. What? The map of Xingyu Mansion. Lu Hong said mysteriously, are you interested in this thing? Daming Mansion had also participated in the exploration. However, those people who participated in Daming Mansion were weak and afraid of death. They explored few places. The Great Xia Mansion was different. Brother Chui's strength is not even 40 years old. I think that Brother Chui will very likely participate in the exploration. This map of mine is the top secret of the Great Xia Mansion. Ordinary people will definitely not be able to get it. Is that so? Su Yu said speechlessly, I'll look for Xia Huyo to get it. There won't be any problems at all. The Xia family wants to rope me in. I'm not stupid, why would they need you to give it to me? It might not be true yet. Brother Lu, do you think I'm stupid? Lu Hong was embarrassed as he cursed in his heart. This fat sheep was not falling for the trap at all. Then, Brother Chui, how about you forge me a peak mystic rank literary soldier? Brother Chui, name your price. As long as I can do it, there won't be any problems. Su Yu glanced at him. After all this time, he wanted to forge a weapon for him. There weren't many people in the Great Xia Mansion who could forge a peak mystic rank weapon. Zhao Li could do it, and Elder Chen could do it too. However, Zhao Li couldn't be bothered with him. Since he couldn't even see Elder Chen, finding him was a good choice. I'm not interested. I don't want to fight. I'm not a blacksmith. I forge weapons. That's a hobby, not a profession. These words were truly piercing. Lu Hong was also helpless. Su Yu couldn't be bothered with him and continued walking forward. At this moment, there were many people in front of them. A group of guards separated the students and created a path. The dragon martial guards were also there. At this moment, a group of people walked out of a huge carriage. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1487. 1487 Chapter 341 Xia Huyo's Request 5. There were quite a number of men and women, and they looked quite young as well. Su Yu could vaguely sense the presence of a group of experts, but they didn't come down from the carriage at this moment. Mountains and seas, sun and moon, there were probably all of them. Compared to last year, this batch of students was of a higher level. They came from all the powerful clans, and a group of the top 100 clans had all come. In front of the crowd, there was a group of people standing tall and imposing. The men were handsome, and the women were beautiful. They were all full of heroic spirit. Their auras were also very powerful. There were almost no 1,000 tons of stones. There were quite a few people in the air. Su Yu felt that these few people had the strength of Ling Yun. Su Yu was slightly puzzled. There were so many powerhouses. The 10,000 clans really dared to send people over. Not only did they send people over, they also sent the most outstanding generation. Just as he was thinking about this, a sturdy young man with sharp horns on his head suddenly glanced in his direction. He was slightly puzzled. Very quickly, he ignored Su Yu and looked around. It was mainly some genius students. Humph. With a light snort, this young man's expression didn't look too good. Su Yu glanced at him and made a judgment in his heart. The clan that had devoured the most blood essence had sent people here. The mountain-breaking bull race. The reason why he looked at those geniuses was because most of the geniuses had used the mountain-breaking bull's blood essence to cast their bodies at the Thousand June realm. When they reached the Soaring Sky realm, there were also quite a number of people who had chosen the mountain-breaking bull's blood essence to cast their bodies. The robust youth's expression was unsightly. Beside him, an extremely handsome youth laughed without any restraint. He said playfully, "Stop grunting, little cow. It's useless no matter how much you grunt. Your race's blood essence is useful. Humans like to use it to cast their bodies the most." The sturdy youth ignored him. The group of people also looked around. Some sneered, while others didn't think much of it. The Great Xia Civilization Academy, one of the three most powerful civilizations of the human race. There was a hint of a smile in some of the people's words. There was a hint of contempt and disdain. "What did you say?" In the surroundings, some students had ugly expressions. They let out a low shout with a fierce expression. On the side of the Great Xia Manor, they were extremely hostile towards the gods and devils. At this moment, when they saw these gods and devils students, the students of the myriad races had really entered the school gates, and many of them were filled with anger. "Ha!" The young man who spoke laughed, and his face was filled with disdain. His aura was incomparably powerful, and he instantly exploded forth. The faces of the surrounding students were extremely ugly, but they still instantly took a few steps back, their faces flushed red. "What are you doing?" At this moment, someone arrived. Xia Huyo, who hadn't been strolling around with Suyu today, brought a group of people over with him. He laughed and said, "Greetings to all of you from the myriad clans. I am Xia Huyo. Today, I am here to receive all of you." Xia Huyo. A member of the Xia clan. The crown prince of the Xia clan. The son of the blood butcher king. At this moment, the students of the 10,000 clans no longer cared about the others. They all looked at Xia Huyo. They were somewhat surprised. This was Xia Longwu's son. One had to know that even in the 10,000 clans, Xia Longwu was a well-known big shot. He was a bloodthirsty person. Some of the invincible figures of the 10,000 clans were a little afraid of him when they mentioned him. They didn't dare to let him succeed in attaining the Tao. His son was just like this. He didn't even fly up. His appearance was also very different from what they had imagined. Xia Huyo laughed heartily and said, "Everyone, we are a family now that we are here. Don't cause a ruckus. I have already prepared a banquet for everyone to welcome everyone. I think that everyone isn't here to pick a fight, right?" Xia Huyo smiled and said, "We are here. Everyone has their own requests. We will talk about the rest later." After saying that, he looked at a cloaked woman in the crowd and laughed. "This must be a student from the celestial race, right? We've been waiting for a long time. Everyone, come with me to the Myriad Races Academy." As he said that, a handsome young man with long golden hair in front of the crowd said playfully, "Crown Prince Xia, are we still going to enter the Myriad Races Academy? We're here because the Great Xia Manor has invited us to join the Polytheistic College." Xia Huyo laughed and said, "You must be a brother of the Celestials, right? There's no rush. The Polytheistic College hasn't opened yet. We'll wait for a few months. In less than 2 months, we'll officially start school in August. By then, we'll naturally be able to join." Among the crowd, a student snorted. He was not very satisfied. Xia Huyo actually called someone from the Celestials his brother. This was too embarrassing. This generation of the Xia clan was very dissatisfied. Xia Huyo didn't care about this either. The celestial youth chuckled and said, "The Great Xia clan, seems like the rules aren't too strict. In the other clans, with Crown Prince Xia's status, who dares to stand and speak, let alone others?" Xia Huyo laughed and said, it's fine. My Xia clan doesn't have these rules. Everyone, let's go together. Don't continue standing. We've come from afar, so everyone is tired." He called out to everyone for a while before leading them away from this place. The carriage didn't stop. It continued on its way towards the Myriad Clans Academy. In the carriage, the experts were all silent, but their gazes were completely different. Human realm, Great Xia Manor, Great Xia Civilization Academy. Some people had come here in the past, but now that they had returned, they felt a little different. Back then, they had come here as invaders, but they had been forced back by the humans. Now, the humans who had forced them back had chosen to welcome them. The human realm seemed to have changed. 300 years of peace. Ha! Someone laughed inaudibly. That was how the humans were. They had no external dangers, and after 300 years, the Great Xia Palace, which had been the most bloodthirsty, had chosen to compromise and surrender. Would the Great Qin Manor be next? Finally, one of these two tough bones had fallen. The bloody massacre king isn't in the Great Xia Manor. Another person laughed faintly with some amusement. That fellow wasn't here. The Great Xia has many divine literature department, the place where Yi Batian rose up in the past. The Great Xia Manor still has the next Yi Batian, right? Voices circulated within the carriage, and the others didn't say anything. This time, everyone had no good intentions when they came here. Of course, it would be even better if they could cut off a piece of flesh from the Great Xia Manor. Outside the carriage, Suyu watched the carriage drive away. He crossed his arms and waited for them to leave before he smiled and said, "The celestial and demonic beauties that came this time aren't that good. They're not as good-looking as the ones I saw last time when I went to the heavenly battlefield. They're all a bunch of crooked people." Many people looked at him. Some gave him a thumbs up to cheer him on. Well said. Although this guy only cared about women, everyone was holding back their anger. Cui Lang despised them, so they also felt good. Suyu smiled and did not care too much. He glanced at the carriage and smiled. There were many people here. How many people could leave? Hopefully, these guys could return to the heavenly battlefield alive and pray for you. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1488. 1488 Chapter 342, Apologies 1. As he watched the experts of the 10,000 races leave, Lu Hong also watched them for a while. He wasn't too interested and continued to chat with Suyu. Suyu was somewhat impatient to deal with him. This fellow was very annoying and talkative. Moreover, he didn't do anything good all day long. He really wanted to find an opportunity to beat him up with a punch. As if sensing Suyu's impatience, Lu Hong suddenly transmitted his voice, "Brother Cui, I'm not interested in anything else. What about the splitting method?" Suyu turned his head to look at him. Lu Hong smiled back and sent a voice transmission, "Splitting method. The rearrangement of the divine literature battle techniques, are you interested? You know it? Of course. Brother Lu, are you trying to trick me? Absolutely not." Lu Hong sent a voice transmission, "Brother Cui, you might not know this, but I still have some face and status in the Great Xia Institute of Civilization. It's hard for outsiders to know about the splitting method, but I do. Brother Cui, are you interested in this? That's a secret technique of the multiple divine languages. Where did you get it?" Lu Hong smiled and said, "There's no need to ask Brother Cui about it. Just ask if you want it." Suyu looked at him. Was it true or false? If it was true, was it Hong Tan who intentionally leaked it, or did this guy trick Bai Feng or Hong Tan? He wasn't that stupid, right? Suyu smiled. "If you're interested, what do you want?" "But I want the truth. If you lie to me, don't think that you're Ling Yun. I have plenty of ways to find trouble with you." "Of course." Lu Hong said excitedly, "How would I do such a thing? I'll definitely take the truth." As he said that, he quickly said, "This isn't the place to talk. Brother Cui, let's find a place to discuss it." Suyu thought for a moment and quickly nodded his head in agreement. A few minutes later, the two of them arrived at a tea house in the Yingxian district. After entering the private room, Su Yu and Lu Hong sat opposite each other. Su Yu looked at Lu Hong and directly said, "Let's not talk too much nonsense. First, let me see if it's true or not. Since you know it, then there shouldn't be any accidents. You should have a divine literature battle technique. If you don't have it, no one will believe your flowery words." Lu Hong chuckled and said, "Brother Chui, don't be anxious. Let's talk about the conditions first. The splitting method hasn't been spread yet. Even if the many divine literature academies open, this secret technique is definitely not casually spread. Brother Chui is not someone from the Great Xia Mansion. Even if the Great Xia Mansion wants to rope in Brother Chui, they won't casually spread it. When it's officially announced, who knows how long it will take. State your conditions. 100,000 merit points and 10 peak stage profound rank scribes. Isn't this too much to ask?" Su Yu said indifferently, "If it's confirmed to be true, then it's not too much. If it's fake, your appetite for lying is astonishing." "Of course it's true." Lu Hong said with a smile, "It's absolutely true. If Brother Chui doesn't believe me, I'll show Brother Chui." After saying that, a thin sword flashed and disappeared. Su Yu was slightly stunned. He instantly caught the thin sword, and his eyes revealed a look of shock. It really was a multi-divine literature battle technique. Impossible. How could this guy know multi-divine literature battle techniques? Could it be, what he said in the past was true? Was this guy really a multi-divine literature spy? No, impossible. Hong Tan had said that he didn't know. Lu Wenyen had also said that he didn't know about this. Of course, Lu Wenyen had actually said one more thing. There were some people from the polytheistic literature department in the human realm, but they were hidden in the entire human realm. They had been dormant for many years now and hadn't shown themselves. Lu Hong was one of those people. No way. If that was the case, Lu Wenyen wouldn't have kept it a secret. He had already asked, so it would be meaningless if he still didn't say anything. Also, that Zhang Ruoxu from number 18 high school, could he really be Lu Hong's teacher? If that was the case, it could be explained. As for where the battle technique template came from, it wasn't as if only the Great Xia Institute of Civilization had it. Or perhaps, before Zhang Ruoxu died, he had passed on his own divine literature battle technique template to Lu Hong. Su Yu's heart was in a mess. He had originally wanted to see how this fellow was able to trick people. Or perhaps, this fellow had really obtained the splitting method. Could it be that Grandmaster and the others were intentionally fishing or something like that? But now that he looked at it, it didn't seem to be the case. That thin sword seemed to be a genuine divine literature battle technique. This meant that Lu Hong really knew how to use it. Previously, this fellow had only revealed a single, strength, word divine literature to everyone. It was an iron rod of the divine literature, so why did he know how to use divine literature battle techniques? Su Yu's heart was shaken, and thoughts kept rising up in his mind. As for Lu Hong, seeing his shocked expression, he smiled and said, "Brother Chui, do you believe me now? Of course, this is a secret. If it gets out, it will be very troublesome. If Brother Chui is interested, then we can discuss it in detail." Su Yu frowned and said, "Even if you know the splitting method, logically speaking, you don't have that many divine runes. Are you using a fake one to deceive me? How can that be?" Lu Hong said aggrievedly, "Everyone has more or less sketched out the divine runes. Previously, they were in bulk, but now, they are just using the splitting method to assemble them for him. Brother Chui is also a civilized master, so he should understand this principle. Sometimes, when he reads a book, he will naturally sketch out the divine runes. We can't waste it, right? Brother Chui, as a forger, you probably have more than one piece of divine prose, right? 5 is not enough, right?" Su Yu was silent for a while. He said, "That's right, but, Brother Lu, you really exceeded my expectations. Give me the splitting method, and I'll give you something." I don't have that many literary soldiers, so it's useless for you to have that many. I can give you 150,000 merit points and a peak mystic rank literary soldier, the kind that was custom-made for you. Lu Hong also sucked in a breath of cold air in his heart. He was really rich. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1489. 1489 Chapter 342 Apologies 2. Was the weapon forging division that rich? He was asking for 100,000 merit points, yet the other party wanted 150,000 merit points. One had to know that it was difficult for even the entire faction to fork out 150,000 merit points. Cui Lang had just entered profound rank, how could he have so many merit points? He had never heard that Cui Lang was peddling literature and soldiers everywhere. Cui Lang agreed so readily that he was a little worried. With a fake smile, he said, "Brother Cui, 150,000 merit points is not a small amount." Su Yu said calmly, "It's fine. Since you gave me the method to split it, I can apply for it from someone." Lu Hong was slightly stunned. After a while, he said, "Brother Cui, you mean, you want to share it with someone?" "Of course." Su Yu replied matter-of-factly, "But don't worry, it's only limited to a few people. It's just for reference. For example, my teacher, Manor Head Nyo. Otherwise, how could I have so many merit points? Unless your words are fake, it shouldn't be a problem for one more person to know, right? My teacher won't divulge the secret. Don't worry. This, one more person to know, one more risk. Brother Cui, I have no other choice. That's why I want to find someone to make a deal with. If Manor Head Nyo knows, perhaps even the entire Daming Manor will know. Once word gets out in Daming Manor, I'll be in big trouble." Su Yu was speechless. This fellow didn't dare to let others know about it. Was he using a fake to deceive him? In that case, he didn't know how to split it up. Since he didn't know how to split it up, then how did he obtain his multi-divine literature battle technique? Also, this fellow had casually revealed his multi-divine literature battle technique. Was he out of his mind due to lack of money, or was there something wrong with the situation? He wasn't familiar with Lu Hong and had revealed his multi-divine literature battle technique in front of an outsider. Either he was out of his mind due to lack of money and urgently needed to gain trust, or this fellow didn't care about revealing his multi-divine literature battle technique. Su Yu's impression of Lu Hong had always been that he was crafty, extremely self-centered, and only did it for himself. Of course, strictly speaking, cultivators were more or less the same. Many people were like this, including Su Yu himself. However, compared to Lu Hong, this guy even cheated his own people. Perhaps in his opinion, he wasn't his own people, and no one knew what Lu Hong was thinking. At least, there was one thing that Lu Hong didn't seem to cheat his master, that elder Zhao who was still in closed-door cultivation. For such an extremely selfish fellow, everything was for the sake of profit, and for the sake of profit. It seemed reasonable for him to reveal his multi-divine literature battle technique, but Su Yu still felt that it was too casual. "Are we very close? You just casually revealed it. Did you think that I wouldn't tell others, or was there some other reason?" Su Yu fell into deep thought, while Lu Hong. He couldn't wait to say, "Brother Cui, how about this? I'll take a step back, but you can't tell a third party. Only you and I know. If this thing were to be known by others, it would be a little troublesome." Su Yu suddenly said, "If I remember correctly, Elder Hong said that the splitting method is only useful for flying. You're Ling Yun, right? That's normal." Lu Hong smiled and said, "Let's put it this way, who doesn't have a trick up their sleeve when doing research?" After researching a few versions, of course, the weakest version would be thrown out first. After some time, the second version would be thrown out and the improved version would be released. This way, the benefits would be maximized and there would be no need to worry about someone borrowing their research results to create a stronger technology. They would be able to update the version in time. Researchers will always have a trick up their sleeve and prepare to upgrade their technology. Brother Cui should be clear about this. Su Yu nodded. You mean that Elder Hong has already developed a splitting method that can be used by Ling Yun? That's right. Su Yu took a deep breath. I believe you. You definitely have a divine literature battle technique long ago. Why are you pretending to be your uncle here? What exactly is going on with Lu Hong? What does he mean? Su Yu was a little confused now. Lu Hong, who was opposite him, still had a smile on his face as he said, 80,000 merit points, Brother Cui. 80,000 merit points. The item is yours. Of course, it can't be leaked. What do you think? Su Yu frowned. If I don't tell others, I might not know whether it's true or not. Although I've seen a lot. Just as he was about to say something, Lu Hong gritted his teeth. After a long while, he said, all right, I won't play around with Brother Cui anymore. To tell you the truth, someone has already bought the item. It's absolutely true. Otherwise, I would have been beaten to death long ago. Who? Someone from the Shang Mansion. Speaking of which, you might know her too. The Shang Mansion's Shang Tianjiao. Brother Cui, do you know her? She's in the Great Xia Mansion. I passed by the Great Xia Mansion a few days ago and was about to go to the Great Zhou Mansion. I ran into her and needed money back then. I chatted with her for a while. Shang Tianjiao paid 120,000 merit points and I'm selling it for the second time now. Brother Cui, I'll give you a discount. 80,000 will do. Su Yu frowned. Is what you said true? Of course. Lu Hong smiled. How can it be fake? Brother Cui doesn't believe it. If you can contact Shang Tianjiao, you can ask her. I'm definitely not lying. Shang Tianjiao isn't stupid. She's also an invincible descendant. I dare to lie to an invincible descendant. Do I want to die? Su Yu looked at him. This time, he was really a little surprised. Was it true? You even sold it to Shang Tianjiao. Just as Lu Hong said, you sold it to the invincible descendant's fake secret technique. Do you not want to live anymore? Also, why did Shang Tianjiao buy this? Could it be for Shan Xiong, or was it for the Shang Mansion? At this moment, Su Yu was somewhat confused. Could it be that Master and the other splitting method had really leaked out? I still have to consider a transaction of tens of thousands of merit points. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1490. 1490 Chapter 342, Sorry 3. Lu Hong shook his head, he sighed. Forget it. I'm going into closed-door cultivation for the next few days, so I need to prepare a large number of heavenly and earthly treasures. My physical body is about to advance to Ling Yun, so I need a lot of things to prepare, including a large amount of God and devil blood essence. That's why I'm selling this secret technique. I'm going into closed-door cultivation very soon, so I hope Brother Cui can keep it a secret even if you don't buy it. Closed-door cultivation. His physical body had leveled up to Ling Yun. That was a good reason. This fellow might really have leveled up to Ling Yun with his physical body, but his speed was very fast. His willpower had only leveled up not too long ago. Then show me the beginning. I need to see something before I can make a trade. Lu Hong hesitated for a moment before saying, I can only see a little. Once the secret technique is finished, it won't be worth much. Of course. Lu Hong did not say anything more. He quickly carved a jade talisman and handed it to Su Yu. Take a look. Self-destruct. I don't want to leave anything behind. This thing is still a secret technique. It can't be leaked. Don't worry. Suyu did not say anything else. He picked up the jade talisman and took a look. At first glance, he really thought that he had seen Bai Feng's splitting technique. However, after looking at a few more lines, Suyu heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. It was different. The splitting method was the key to splitting the solidified basis points of the divine literature battle technique, as well as the splitting and filling of the divine literature. The one that Lu Hong had given him explained this concept at the beginning. Of course, the concept of the splitting method was more or less known to everyone now. However, it was completely different when it involved some specific plans. Suyu was puzzled. Although it was completely different, after reading a few sentences, Suyu felt that it was quite reasonable. Of course, he didn't see everything, so he didn't know what the whole situation was like. However, from the beginning, it really made sense. The description and analysis of the multi-divine language battle techniques were very accurate. Even a multi-divine language civilization master like Suyu felt that the analysis was very accurate. This was not a veteran, nor could he write it. The person who wrote this definitely knew the multi-god language battle techniques very well. In fact, he knew it even better than Suyu. Suyu looked at Lu Hong again. He made it up himself. If that was the case, this guy really knew the multi-god language. It sounds quite reasonable. Suyu smiled and said, "How about this, I'll give you an answer in 3 days. After all, I don't have so many merit points on me right now. Even if I really want to buy it, I have to borrow a part of it." When Lu Hong heard that, he hurriedly said, "That's fine. If Brother Cui is really willing to buy it, you can pay a deposit of 10,000 merit points first. Otherwise, I won't be too assured." This. Suyu chuckled and said, "I'm not too rich either." Lu Hong looked at him silently. F***ck. In that case, the 150,000 merit points you mentioned earlier was just to tease me? Liar. Are you trying to trick my cultivation technique? Asking for 150,000, I thought you were really rich, but you can't even fork out 10,000. Lu Hong was speechless. He stood up and said, "Then Brother Cui, look for me when you have the money." "No, Brother Lu, let's discuss again." "There's no need." Lu Hong said as he walked, "Brother Cui, if you're interested in the transaction within 3 days, you can directly pay the full amount. Otherwise, in 5 days at most, I might have to officially go into closed-door cultivation." After saying that, he had already left the tea house. Suyu sat in the private room and watched him leave. He frowned again. This fellow was quite bold. He really dared to use fake cultivation techniques to deceive people. He said that Shang Tianjiao had bought it. Was that true? Also, why did he reveal multiple divine literature battle techniques? What a headache. At this moment, Suyu felt that he really couldn't see through this fellow. What on earth do you do? Suyu had a headache. He really had a headache. What was Lu Hong's identity? Did he do all of this just to earn money? He leaned back on the chair and pondered for a moment. Suddenly, he thought of something. He took out a voice transmission talisman and transmitted his voice, "Brother Lin, what has your master been doing recently?" Lin Yao, who had received the voice transmission, was a little surprised. It had been some time since he had communicated with Suyu. Wasn't Suyu in seclusion to recuperate? Furthermore, he had asked his master the moment he arrived. What was going on? Wasn't his master also a member of the association? Even though he didn't understand. He quickly replied, "Nothing much, just cultivating normally." "Oh, right, teacher applied to be a resident teacher of the Myriad Tribe Academy a few days ago. Recently, he will be in charge of explaining some of the basic knowledge of the Myriad Tribe Academy's students. As for the rest, nothing much, right?" Suyu was a little stunned. What did he mean? A resident teacher in the Myriad Tribe Academy? This fellow, could it be that he wanted to use this to fool the students of the Myriad tribe? This time, the Myriad tribe had sent many experts and many powerful students. Even the deity and demon races had them. Could it be? That's impossible. He looked at Lu Hong, who had already left, in astonishment. Could it be that this fellow was crazy enough to make a huge sum of money? An invincible descendant, a student from a myriad of clans, a rich tycoon. Had Lu Hong been interacting with these people everywhere recently? The splitting method. To be honest, one shouldn't sell it too expensive. It was around 10,000 merit points. A large family was rich, so they didn't think that Lu Hong would dare to cheat them. Anyway, Lu Hong was here, so why would he be afraid that he would run away? He didn't want to live anymore. In this way, if one family really cheated a little, it would be a big deal. If this family bought it, they definitely wouldn't share it with the other family. Is he copying me from back then? Back then, Suyu had used some fake information to swindle the single god language department and obtained quite a number of merit points. Could it be that Lu Hong Fa had become famous and was preparing to make a huge sum of merit points? If it was successful, it wouldn't be difficult to earn 1,000,000 merit points, right? Of course, the consequences would be very serious. On the surface, the method of splitting up a business wouldn't work. If a big family were to find trouble with him, it wouldn't be on the surface either. However, you had offended so many people. In the dark, you wouldn't be able to have an easy life. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1491. 1491 Chapter 342, Apologies 4. Is this guy crazy? Suyu was puzzled. What was going on? He had even exposed his multi-divine literature battle technique, and he was still planning to make a huge fortune. What was Lu Hong thinking? Even if he had made enough now, he would definitely die in the future. Just as Suyu was thinking about this, Lu Hong, who had left not long ago, arrived at another hotel. After entering, a young man was waiting for him in the private room. Lu Hong covered his face at this moment and said in a low voice, "Brother Zhang, have you thought it through? 50,000 merit points is definitely not a lot. I took a huge risk to make a deal with you. You called me here because you've made a decision, right?" The young man stared at him for a while and said in a low voice, 50,000 then. However, if it's not effective, Brother Lu, you should consider the consequences clearly. The Zhang family will not let this matter rest. Of course, I dare to lie to the invincible family? Lu Hong said helplessly, I have no other choice. That's why I found my own way out. Now that I've combined a multi-divine literature battle technique and the single divine literature faction knows about it, I'll be in big trouble. Don't I have to leave some foundation for myself? Otherwise, I'll very likely be expelled from the single divine literature faction very soon. The young man didn't say anything else and directly threw over a merit card. He said coldly, bring it over. These merit points are all merit points from the official channels. You can use the anonymous card as you wish. Of course, it's best if you don't use it on a large scale in order to avoid being noticed. Of course. Lu Hong smiled and threw a jade talisman to him. The money and goods are settled. Brother Zhang, it doesn't matter if you announce it to the public or not, I won't admit that I sold it to you. Of course. The young man nodded, but he didn't say anything else. After obtaining the cultivation technique, he left swiftly. He wanted to look for the elders in his clan to verify whether it was true or not. Lu Hong watched as Zhang Xian left silently as well. He did some calculations in his mind and realized that it wasn't too bad. He had already sold it for 300,000 merit points, and there were still a few spendthrifts left. If everything was settled, it wouldn't be a problem for him to get 500,000 merit points. On the side of the Myriad Clan Academy, they didn't need all of it. The various great clans would swindle 1/10 of it. In the end, it wouldn't be a problem for them to get 1,000,000 merit points, right? Of course I'm selling the splitting method. I didn't say it was Hong Tan's version. Can't it be Lu Hong's version? Lu Hong muttered in his heart. 1,000,000 merit points. He had made a huge profit. He didn't need to worry about resources when it came to the sun and moon. Not to mention the sun and moon, if things went smoothly, he would be able to use it until he was invincible. Of course, the prerequisite was that he would be invincible. 1,000,000 merit points. Lu Hong grinned. Indeed, scamming people was the most profitable nowadays. Back then, Suyu could easily fool people with just a random piece of information. He had even scammed quite a number of people. This time, he had used the splitting method. Scamming 1,000,000 merit points was not considered much, right? After I get the things, I'll exchange them for treasures. I'll find an opportunity to leave this place. He raised his head to look at the Great Xia Manor. He had to leave. This damned place was getting more and more dangerous. Even Zhou Mingren had found an opportunity to escape. If he didn't leave, what was the point of staying? As for scamming so many things and offending so many clans, he didn't care. For tens of thousands of merit points, why would he send an invincible clan to hunt him down? Even the sun and moon wouldn't show up. Even the mountains and seas wouldn't look for trouble with him on the surface. It was against the rules to trade cultivation techniques in private. Furthermore, he had only mentioned the splitting method, not Hong Tan's splitting method. At the very least, on the surface, the clans wouldn't be able to do anything to him. However, in the dark, he wouldn't feel good either. It doesn't matter. I'm leaving, so who cares? If it doesn't work, I'll go to the heavens battlefield. It just so happens that with so many merits, it would be even better to go to the military to exchange for treasures. After staying in the heavens battlefield for a few years, it's hard to say if these people will still have the chance to find trouble with me. With that in mind, he glanced in the direction of the Heart Cultivation Pavilion. I have to go. I can't get involved in the matters of the Great Xia Manor. Even if I cultivate the splitting method, it'll be hard to tell if it's real or fake without a few months. When it's really useless, my people won't be in the Great Xia Manor anymore. Even if I expose the multi-divine literature battle technique, it's not a big deal. There's no lack of multi-divine literature battle techniques in the world. There's plenty of them. I'm not a fifth-generation successor. Lu Hong smiled. He had enough this time, so he decided to flee as soon as possible. As for Lu He and his two disciples, they might be implicated, so there wasn't much of a problem. In any case, it had nothing to do with them. Wasn't the person from the Heart Cultivation Pavilion still in charge? There wouldn't be any major issues in the academy. Once the chaos broke out, no one would care about these small fries anymore. And his teacher had been in closed-door cultivation. There was nothing he could do about that. It was good that he was in closed-door cultivation. At the very least, those people wouldn't look for him. After calculating everything, he quickly walked towards the Myriad Clan Academy. As a resident teacher, he had to get closer to these people these few days to see if he could make a huge sum of money. Gods, demons, immortals, and demons were all rich, so it didn't matter if he didn't have any money. As a human realm expert, he should have plenty of natural treasures, right? Fortunately, that fellow Suyu ran away. If he didn't run away, this fellow might have already gotten rid of the fleece before me. The credibility of his goods is even greater than mine. Within a month, I'll run away, leave, and head to the celestial battlefield. After making a thorough calculation, he thought of Cui Lang from before and cursed him for being a pauper. His tone wasn't small, causing him to be agitated for a moment. 150,000 contribution points, as though he was speaking the truth. I have to invite Bai Feng for a meal. It would be best if someone accidentally sees me and knows that I have a good relationship with that fellow. With this thought in mind, he immediately took out his communicator and dialed Bai Feng's number. After picking up the call, he said, "By phone, your master has really screwed us this time. With Principal Zhou gone, my days are getting harder and harder. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories." Chapter 1492. 1492 Chapter 342, Sorry Monthly Subscription, 5. None of my business. Bai Feng was about to hang up when Lu Hong quickly said, "Don't, I have something to talk to you about. Don't hang up, if there's really something, let's meet up. How about 1,000 merit points for running errands? So generous?" Bai Feng was stunned for a moment. This guy was so generous now. 1,000 merit points for meeting up. Bai Feng quickly said, 2,000. No, 5,000 merit points. I'll meet you. My status is noble now. Scram. 2,000 merit points. Are you in? No problem. Where is it? I'll be there right away. Alright, it's at the same place. I'll wait for you. Be careful. There are many people watching you right now. I don't want to drag myself into this. Right away. Bai Feng was overjoyed. *CK, he was a rich man. Just a meeting was worth 2,000 merit points. Was Lu Hong crazy now? Merit points were like papyrus. For 2,000 merit points, Bai Feng went to see Lu Hong and acted as a support for him. Suyu really did not know much about this. Lu Hong's side was now a little more mysterious to Suyu. Even now, he still didn't know what kind of person this crafty old fellow was. If he knew that this fellow was so audacious that he wanted to swindle 1,000,000 merit points in one go and then run away, Suyu wouldn't have felt anything wrong. He could only say that this fellow's sense of smell was too sharp. Lu Hong wasn't even prepared to work as a researcher. Clearly, he had sensed a sense of danger. The Great Xia Manor was indeed filled with danger at this moment. Going to the heavenly battlefield might be much safer than this. Of course, most people would just run away. Lu Hong was bold. If he ran away, he would have no money. If he went to the heavenly battlefield, he would also be filled with danger. He would even have to kill everywhere in order to exchange for some treasures to cultivate. If he ran over with 1,000,000 merit points and found a place to hide, or even went to the headquarters to cultivate in seclusion, it would actually be much safer than staying in the Great Xia Manor. As for Bai Feng, for the sake of 2,000 merit points, he had willingly become a servant, unintentionally. It was a pity that Suyu did not know. Otherwise, he would have looked down on this master of his. His eyelids were really shallow. 2,000 merit points, and you just ran over. You're not being reserved at all. Of course, if it was before, let alone 2,000 merit points, 20 merit points, even if Lu Hong said that he wanted to meet him, Suyu would probably be happy to run over and meet him. A storm was brewing in the Great Xia Manor. Some people with sharp senses had already sensed the danger. Some chose to leave, some chose to make a fortune before leaving, and some were unwilling to leave. As for Suyu, he had already seen the Divine Devil student this time and was prepared to leave. The general of the Great Jin Manor was already searching in the southern Yuan. He might very soon come to the Great Xia Manor to look for those people who were present that day. Suyu had to leave before he came, in case he ran into trouble. His physical body was almost 11 years old. His willpower was also on the verge of advancing. For the rest of the time, Suyu did not go to see Wuxia. Instead, he advised her to leave, leaving behind a letter. After he left, Xia Huyo would pass it on to him. In addition, Xia Huyo used 2,000 points of Heavenly Yuan Qi to purchase 1,000,000 points of Heavenly Yuan Qi from Suyu. A total of 500 portions were deducted with blood essence. This guy might have used the Xia family's private treasury. Suyu had not given him enough of his own. Over the past few days, he had withdrawn quite a bit and had amassed 500 merit points for him. In addition, he had given him a few sets of cultivation methods for free. He knew too many cultivation methods and many of them were not useful. Some of them were self-harming. He did not know how to use the ones with big sequelae and gave them all to Xia Huyo. As for Lu Hong, Suyu asked Lin Yao a few times. That guy had been staying at the Wanzhou Academy for the past few days, and it was said that he had a good relationship with the new students of the Wanzhou Academy. As for Lu Hong, he didn't ask Suyu if he wanted any cultivation techniques. It seemed that there was a new buyer that he needed to take care of. Until June 8th. Suyu was ready to leave. Next, he had to make a trip to the Great Gold Mansion, and then directly go to the Zhu Tian Mansion to enter the Zhu Tian battlefield. As for the matter of Lu Hong's divine literature battle technique, he told Xia Huyo to pay more attention to it. He did not care about anything else. As for Lu Hong's situation, the Xia family would naturally pay attention to it. Suyu also left Bai Feng and the rest a lot of things, including some heaven yuan qi and hundreds of thousands of merit points. Suyu obtained a lot of merit points in the Great Ming residence. After the last purchase, he still had 1.4 million points left. This time, he left half to Hong Tan and the rest. He did not know if it was useful or not. In any case, he did his best. On the night of June 8, Suyu quietly left the Great Xia Manor. He did not travel alone with the others. Before he left, he turned around and took a few more glances at the Great Xia Institute of Civilization. He would return here sooner or later. The next time he returned, he might not need to hide his identity anymore. And not long after Suyu left. Wentan Research Center. Bai Feng took those things and looked at them for a while. Finally, he looked at Xia Huyo and smiled. After a long while, he sighed and said, "I regret it." He did not say what he regretted. He did regret it. Perhaps, he regretted not going to the Southern Origin. Without him, that fellow would definitely have a better future. A master-disciple status had imprisoned that fellow. Bai Feng leaned against the sofa and did not speak for a very long time. He really regretted it. If he had known that the polytheistic literature department was in such a situation, he would not have said that he would take in a disciple that day. Sorry. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1493. 1493 Chapter 343, The sun and the moon will also roll away one. Giddy up. Outside the great Xia city, Suyu rode his horse and galloped madly. I'm sorry, I have to leave the great Xia manor once again. I have no way to change anything, I have no way to participate in your plans, I have no way to meet all of you. Currently, there are too many people staring at Master and the others. I'm too weak. Have you ever regretted it? No. At first, he might have been reluctant to join the polytheistic faction, but later on, Bai Feng taught him all kinds of secret techniques, such as the splitting method, the memory extraction method, and the blood essence creation method. Chen Yong gave him the annihilation beast skull to guide him on the path of cultivation. These people made him no longer regret it. Also, Lu Wenyan's many years of guidance, Hong Tan allowing him to use those demonic beasts. One after another, scene after scene, unforgettable. When he finally left, Chen Yong gave him the multi-divine literature battle technique steel. Only today did he understand that at that time, Chen Yong might have already prepared to leave the academy. Since his master and junior brother weren't around, then. The last thing he wanted was to give it to Suyu. Others wanted it, but he didn't give it to them. Suyu didn't want it, so he gave it to Suyu. To some people, it was a precious treasure. To Chen Yong, it might just be his last hope. Suyu would never forget the half a year in the great Xia mansion. The galloping cloud horse flew at an extremely fast speed. Suyu headed straight for the great Jin mansion to cleanse his blood qi and enter the heavenly battlefield. He wanted to kill. But at this moment, he could not. In the human realm, he could not act recklessly. This was because he was Suyu. He was in seclusion in the great Ming mansion. The heavenly battlefield. Suyu accelerated again. Under the night sky, the sound of horse hooves could be heard. There was a caravan ahead. Under the night sky, the bonfire was bright. Suyu rode on his horse and sped away. He had no intention of stopping at all. In the caravan, someone complained, "Where did this hothead come from? Running wild in the middle of the night. Isn't he afraid of drawing out demon beasts? Even if there are no demon beasts, he has to be careful of the 10,000 clans or bandits. He won't stop even if we call him. Don't meet any corpses on the way tomorrow." In the team, there was an old hand smoking a cigarette. Looking at the direction where Suyu was riding his horse, he smiled and said, "Don't worry about others. The road tomorrow might be a little smoother." Riding a horse in the middle of the night, he has some confidence. I don't think that person is old. The strong ones don't look old. Riding a galloping cloud horse, is he also a strong one? It's hard to say. Have you seen any galloping cloud horse that can fly? The caravan people discussed in low voices and didn't bother about it anymore. The wilderness was very dangerous, so it was best not to meddle in other people's business and not to come into contact with those loners. Loners were usually not weak and were very powerful. In front, Suyu rode his horse forward. In the distance, wolf howls could be heard. The galloping cloud horse was a little timid. Suyu snorted. With the help of the battle character and the galloping cloud horse was no longer afraid. Its momentum was like a rainbow as it sped forward. Pooh! A wild wolf flew out. Just as it was about to pounce, a hammer fell, and the wild wolf was split into pieces. Flames rose. The wild wolf instantly disappeared from its original spot. A gentle breeze blew past, leaving nothing behind. Only some traces of blood remained, proving that there was something bleeding here just now. Suyu did not turn his head back. He continued to ride his horse forward at an extremely fast speed. The heavenly residence was in the north. All the way up north, at the end was the heavenly residence. There was a path leading to the heavenly battlefield. The Great Jin residence was also on this path, and it was not far from the Great Zhou residence. In 2 or 3 days, they should be able to reach the Great Jin residence. If everything went smoothly, they would be able to reach the heavenly residence. However, other than the various manors, there was a large stretch of wilderness or forest between the manors. There were usually demonic beasts, bandits, and followers of the various races gathered there. Great Xia and Great Qin's manors were fine, as there weren't many followers of the 10,000 races around them. Even if there were, they had to keep a low profile and didn't dare to show their faces. However, some of the other manors didn't really care about these people. If you didn't cause trouble, some of the other manors wouldn't bother with you. This also caused bandits to run amok in the vicinity of some of the manors, and it wasn't very safe. Under normal circumstances, when walking at the human realm, flying would be enough. However, when encountering danger, flying wouldn't be enough. Suyu rode his horse at a very fast speed. Under the night sky, he did not slow down. On the road and in the wilderness, it was not that there were no people watching. However, seeing him riding his horse alone in the middle of the night, some of them were wary and quickly gave up on attacking him. A lone walker was either a desperado, a strong person, or a hothead. Usually, there were only these 3 types. Except for the last type, the first 2 types were not easy to deal with. Even hotheads were not weak. To these bandits living in the wilderness, they would rather provoke those caravans than go after lone travelers. It was not worth it. Suyu traveled north for thousands of miles at night. At dawn, he had already arrived at the border of the next mansion. The Great Wu Mansion. The mansion that was adjacent to the Great Xia Mansion was also a powerful mansion in the past. Later, after the Great Wu King died in battle, the Great Wu Mansion's strength instantly declined. The Invincible King died in battle. Without the Invincible King overseeing the Great Wu Mansion, there were more or less signs of decline. There was no confidence. And this was also the ancestral land of the Wulan family in the past. Later on, they migrated to the Great Xia Mansion. It had been more than 100 years now. And right here, a few days ago, Chen Yong might have killed someone here. No, he definitely killed someone here. It was unknown where he had gone to now. Xia Huyo gave Su Yu quite a bit of information, including a list of names. All of them might be Chen Yong's next target. Xia Wu border. Su Yu had just entered the Great Wu Manor's territory when a long arrow shot over. The sound of Yuan Qi exploding resounded in all directions. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1494. 1494 Chapter 343, The sun and the moon will also get lost too. Su Yu's expression did not change. He reached out his hand and grabbed the long arrow. With a bang, the long arrow was caught in his hand. Su Yu threw it back and returned the way he came. A few hundred meters away from him, a Sky Realm expert's expression changed slightly. Just as he was about to dodge the returning long arrow, a hammer descended silently. With a boom, his sea of consciousness instantly collapsed. With a poochie sound, the long arrow pierced through his head. Su Yu's gaze was cold as he looked around. With a snort, he rode his horse and disappeared again. Not long after he left, several figures descended. They instantly landed beside the slain Sky Realm expert to investigate. Taking a deep breath, he said, so ruthless. Is this the soul-expanding technique? Breaking his sea of consciousness with a single strike. It was best not to provoke this Cui Lang. He was also a person who killed without batting an eyelid. It was only 1,000 contribution points on the bounty list. The gains didn't make up for the losses. Even Ling Yun might not be able to defeat him. Are all weapon forging masters this strong? Don't underestimate weapon forging masters. When weapon forging masters fight, their strength isn't any weaker than the divine literature department. Furthermore, civilized masters have many tricks up their sleeves. Retreat. Don't lose your life just for 1,000 contribution points. The few of them quickly retreated. Cui Lang could be considered a top figure now. There was also a reward list in the 10,000 clans sect. Now that the 10,000 clans were united and the list was united, Cui Lang's ranking wasn't high. It was very low, but 1,000 contribution points was considered not bad. Some people recognized him and wanted to make a fortune, but it was clearly not worth it. This price was too low. 1,000 contribution points was the price to pay for killing a beginner like Ling Yun. However, compared to a genius weapon forging master like Cui Lang, the price was still too low. It was not enough. As the few of them retreated, they did not forget to chat with a few important figures. Someone lamented, killing Cui Lang is meaningless. In terms of value, killing Su Yu is more valuable for those who are weak. The bounty now has a total of 800,000 contribution points. It is frightening. A bounty of more than 1 million points is a bounty for some of the top-tier sun and moon. Who says so? The key is, who dares to go? Do they think that the sun and moon cultivators haven't died enough? That Jinx has lost so many sun and moon cultivators because of him. They were traveling at a high speed. However, some of them frowned. In the next moment, a figure flashed in front of them. The surroundings changed, and they were terrified. The sky-piercing hammer that they had killed was still under their feet. This, illusion. Bang! The god-expanding hammer fell, and Su Yu stretched out his hand to grab it. With a crack, he broke the other party's neck. In the blink of an eye, only one of the 4 Sky Realm experts was killed by him. Staring at the last person, Su Yu said faintly, "Interesting, right? Is there any bounty list? If there is, let me see. I, Cui Lang, am worth 1,000 contribution points." Looking down on others. For a mystic rank pinnacle weapon forging master, not to mention tens of thousands of contribution points, even 10,000 contribution points should be worth it. Giving 1,000 points, who would he look down on? Sir, I. With a loud bang, Su Yu kicked the other party's head to pieces. He swiftly searched around and burned everything. With a gentle breeze, the few of them disappeared without a trace. A jade talisman appeared in Su Yu's hand. He used his willpower to check and found that there was indeed a reward list. Not only was there a reward list, but there was also a portrait. Was this a reward for everyone? Sun Moon Kill List. Xia Longwu, Peak 9th Level Sun Moon, Almost Invincible, Heaven-Splitting Blade. Reward, 3 million contribution points, 100 drops of Sun Moon Mystic Yellow Liquid, 1 Heaven-Grade Weapon, 1 Eternal Inheritance, 1 Heaven-Grade Cultivation Method. Su Yu's eyes turned red with envy. F***CK. Xia Longwu was truly valuable. He had started with 3 million contribution points, and the Sun Moon Mystic Yellow Liquid was a great help to him. He was ranked first on the kill list. Whoever killed Xia Longwu wouldn't have to worry about it for the rest of their lives. Of course, there was a high chance that he would die, so there was no need to worry. Xia Longwu was ranked first, followed by Zhou Polong, and the reward was extremely high. The third was the Qin town of the Great Qin Manor. Not all of the manor heads of the 36 manors were on the list, but there were about 7 or 8 of them. Su Yu took a look and shook his head. Those on the list still had some face, but those not on the list were truly shameless. The 10,000 clans weren't prepared to kill you. Zhu Tiandao of the Daming Manor was also on the list. It was still fine, but the reason why he was on the list wasn't because he was too threatening, but rather because this fellow had plotted to kill 5 Sun and Moon Elders. This was his revenge. The list was quite detailed. Of course, it was just for fun. It was too difficult for the Myriad clan to kill a manor head. Su Yu continued reading, and in the next moment, his gaze changed slightly. Xia Yinqi, Mountain and Sea High Realm, Strength Fluctuation Unknown. Reward, 100,000 contribution points, 3 drops of Sun Moon Mystic Yellow Liquid, 1 Earth Grade Weapon, 1 Heaven Grade Secret Art. Zhao Mingyue, Mountain and Sea High Realm. Zhao Mingyue, Xia Yinqi, Hu Ping, and the others were all on the list. Of course, Hong Tan and Lu Wenyan were also on the list. Chen Yong was also on the list. The price was not low, it was even higher than Xia Yinqi. The strength given was that the mountain and sea was high, and their strength was unknown. They might have the strength of the peak of the mountain and sea realm. From the people who had died before, one could make some judgments. As for Chen Yong, who knew what had happened not long after he had broken through the mountain and sea realm, perhaps he had been hiding his strength all this time. He continued to read on. When he reached the must-kill list in the sky, the person ranked first was Su Yu himself. Su Yu, 9th level of the sky, combat strength comparable to the 7th level of Lingyun. Reward, 800,000 merit points, 30 drops of Sun Moon Mysterious Yellow Liquid, reward for capturing him alive doubled. Su Yu smiled. He had face. With this doubling, he was worth a lot of money. All in all, he was only slightly inferior to Xia Longwu and the others. He could be considered the second level after quasi-invincible. He was almost on the same level as Zhu Tiandao and the other mansion masters. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1495. 1495 Chapter 343, Sun and Moon will also go away 3. And the second person in the sky realm was actually Shan Xiong. The price wasn't low either. Of course, it couldn't be compared to Suyu, but it was still better than some mountains and seas. The reward was 100,000 merit points. If you provided Shan Xiong with the divine prose, the reward was as high as 300,000 merit points. Shocking. Shan Xiong. Suyu laughed inwardly. This fellow probably didn't dare to come out now. He didn't believe that no one would be tempted by this reward. In the end, he even saw Bai Feng. Bai Feng, 7th level of the soaring heaven tier. His battle prowess is close to Ling Yun's. Reward, 30,000 merit points. Capture him alive and double the price. Teacher knows. He probably wants to sell himself. The person who wants to sell himself is actually worth 60,000 merit points. It's not cheap at all. Suyu sighed in his heart. Soon, he stopped looking at this and looked at the Great Wu residence ahead. He sighed in his heart as the demons danced in disorder. After the fall of the Invincible, sure enough, the Myriad Clan sect became much bolder. Just as they stepped into the Great Wu residence, several Sky Realm experts appeared. To Suyu, Sky Realm experts were not worth mentioning. However, in reality, Sky Realm experts were not that easy to enter. Back when the Heavenly Yi Divine sect attacked Southern Yuan, they only sent a few Sky Realm experts. In the end, the moment they entered, they had already killed 5 soaring in the sky. The kill word divine script was starting to stir. Clearly, killing would be of great help to this divine script. Suyu erased all traces and quickly left on his horse. Instead of entering the Great Wu residence, Suyu traveled along the wilderness outside the great city. Compared to the Great Xia residence and the Great Ming residence, the Great Wu residence was more chaotic. Along the way, the caravans moved in groups of hundreds of people. Whether a place was safe or not, one could tell just by looking at the caravans. Although the Great Xia mansion was chaotic, in the past, when the caravans traveled, there were 7 or 8 people. With one of them flying in the sky, the Great Xia mansion was not afraid of going anywhere. Sometimes, they might as well lead the caravan with 10,000 stones, and they would only encounter a few small thieves. The large-scale mass of the 10,000 races' religious followers did not exist at all. They were all killed and fled in all directions. How could they dare to gather in the territory of the Great Xia mansion on a large scale? As for the Great Ming mansion, it was still invincible. In addition, the Great Ming mansion had relatively strict control over the territory. In addition, they had recently brought back tens of thousands of strongmen. Currently, the territory was also extremely safe. The followers of the 10,000 clans did not dare to show themselves. After killing 5 suns and moons, the Great Ming mansion had almost become a forbidden area for the 10,000 clans. Suyu did not stop. He traveled at an extremely fast speed. After spending more than a day, he crossed the Great Wu mansion. In front of him was another mansion, the De Yuan mansion. This was also a powerful mansion. Once he reached the De Yuan mansion, the bandits in the territory would be much less troublesome. Suyu still did not enter the city. He knew that if someone paid attention to his whereabouts, they would probably be suspicious. However, at this moment, Suyu did not want to waste too much time. With Cui Lang's character, it was impossible for him not to stay for a few days after entering the city. It was normal for him to stay in a large mansion for 3 months in dozens of cities. According to his speed, it would take him about a year to reach the heavenly mansion. In the past, Cui Lang was like this. Therefore, after traveling outside for many years, it was normal for him to stay for a year or so in a large mansion. Suyu did not have the time to waste. If he was suspicious, he would be suspicious. There was no sun and moon following him in the dark. If there was, he would be invincible. If Invincible wanted to kill him, there was no need for him to be suspicious. Now that there were only 3 invincible human realm cultivators, they might have guessed his identity. If they wanted to kill him, he would not be able to resist. Suyu set off on the night of the 8th until the night of the 11th. He was close to the border of the Great Jin Mansion. 3 days later, they were about to arrive at the Great Gold Mansion. There was a tranquil heart spring here. Suyu had inquired about the situation. This tranquil heart spring was a natural secret realm formed naturally by heaven and earth. It was not of much use. Of course, there were still some benefits that could cleanse one's heart and blood. Many soldiers and generals who had killed many people on the battlefield liked to visit the Great Gold Mansion when they returned to the human realm. The Great Gold Mansion also opened the Tranquil Heart Spring to the public, attracting many experts. It also formed a Tranquil Heart City, which was one of the main sources of income for the Great Gold Mansion. Generally, one would have to charge a fee to enter the Tranquil Heart Spring, and the price wasn't low, 10 merit points. 10 merit points might not be worth mentioning at the moment, but to ordinary people, it was still very expensive. In a year, a Tranquil Heart Spring could bring in hundreds of thousands of merit points. In addition, when people came, they had to stay here, spend money here, and eat here. Some people simply bought property here. In total, this Tranquil Heart Spring could bring in millions of merit points to the Great Gold Mansion every year. Its value was extremely high. The first young man Suyu killed in Southern Yuan was the son of the general of the Great Gold Mansion, the only son of Sun and Moon. Late at night, Suyu arrived at Tranquil Heart City. It was a very peaceful city. The place was not very big, but even at night, the place was brightly lit. At the city gate, there were some experts from all directions. Some people could smell the smell of blood from afar. There was a fee to enter the city. 1 merit point. Of course, it was targeted at outsiders. It could be considered robbing, but it still could not stop those outsiders. Suyu rode on the sprinting cloud horse. It was not very conspicuous here. The sprinting cloud horse could only be said to be a commoner's mount. Experts usually either flew on their own or had special mounts. Just as they reached the city gate, they heard the city guard shout, "The higher-ups have ordered that other people are allowed to enter. People from the Great Xia Manor are not allowed to enter for 3 days. They are not allowed to enter the Tranquil Heart Spring." What's wrong? Are you discriminating against the Great Xia Manor? At the city gate, there were obviously people who had rushed over from the Great Xia Manor. When they heard this, they said angrily, "You have guts. The Great Jin Manor still dares to discriminate against people from our Great Xia Manor? I've given you face." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1496. 1496 Chapter 343, The Sun and the Moon will also roll away for. Sir, you've misunderstood. The city guard was also very helpless. The Great Xia Manor was not a weak manor, and they indeed could not be casually provoked. He could only say, "It's an order from the higher-ups." A few days ago, there was news that the master's young master was killed in the Great Xia Manor, and the master personally rushed over. He may need to use some means to track down the murderer. Within the human territory, the easiest place to wash away the blood and qi is the Tranquil Heart Spring. Nonsense. Someone cursed, the Tranquil Heart Spring is within the territory of your Great Jin Mansion. That murderer must have eaten a bear's heart or a leopard's guts to come to your territory to wash away the blood and qi. Find a place to hide. After a long time, no matter how many secret techniques you have, it will be useless. You won't be able to catch up to him. It has already been so many days. Even if he really came, he would have already washed away the blood and qi. Is there something wrong with being closed off now? The burly man from the Great Xia Manor was also an expert at the 9th level of the Soaring Heaven realm. Upon hearing that he wasn't allowed to enter, he immediately flew into a rage. What kind of bullsh*t is this? He's not allowed to enter just because he's here. Is he discriminating against me? Behind him, Suyu frowned slightly. Tracking. Does he really have such an ability? He killed without taking anything away, leaving nothing behind. Does a sun and moon really have the ability to track him through some remnants? He did not believe it. Of course, he could not rule out the possibility that the other party had some secret arts. Through the remnants of his sun, he might be able to track him down. However, it had been many days. There was no way he would be able to track him down. However, since he was here now and he had appeared in the Southern Yuan Empire before, would he be suspected? It was indeed inappropriate for a weapon-forging division like him to come to the Tranquil Heart Spring. However, Suyu soon felt at ease. When he arrived, the city guard was about to ask about the registration when Suyu said calmly, "Someone, bring me to Master Chen's residence." Master Chen. The guard was stunned. Suyu frowned and said, "Master Chen Qizhong is not in the Tranquil Heart City." "Yes, yes." Hearing Suyu's words, the guard hurriedly said, "Master Chen is in the city." "Sir, are you here for the weapon forging division?" This Master Chen was also a weapon forging master. A peak mystic rank weapon forging master. He had settled down in the Tranquil Spring because there were many killers here. He needed a lot of weapons and it was a good place to forge weapons. In fact, there were a few weapon forging masters in the city, but Chen Qizhong was the strongest. Suyu smiled faintly and said, "No, I'm here to visit a friend." "Stop talking nonsense. Someone come quickly and bring me there." Suyu looked around and waved at a soldier on the city wall. "Little general, come down for a moment. You bring me there." The captain of the soaring stage was slightly stunned but quickly flew down. He cupped his fists and said, "May I ask who you are?" "Chui Lang." Suyu smiled and said, "Do you know him?" "Little general, cut the crap. I have an urgent matter to look for Brother Chen. I haven't slept well for a few days because of this matter. Can you hurry up?" Chui Lang. The man was stunned for a moment. After a while, he seemed to have remembered something. He said hurriedly, "Master Chui, come with me. Master Chen may have fallen asleep." However, 2 days ago, Master Chen came back and mentioned Master Chui. Master Chen will be very happy that Master Chui is here. After saying that, he personally led the horse into the city for Suyu. As for any inquiries or questions, there was no need for them. The genius weapon forging master from Daming Prefecture, Chui Lang. The few masters in the city had just returned a few days ago and had mentioned this matter many times. How could they not know who Chui Lang was? As for him coming from the Great Xia Prefecture, what did it matter? Even if the mansion master was here and knew that a peak mystic rank weapon forging master was here, there was no reason for him to stop them. Chui Lang's status was not low and was not inferior to ordinary mountains and seas. If he simply stopped these weapon forging masters, what would he do if he offended a group of weapon forging masters? More than 10 minutes later, in a large courtyard in the city, an old man with a surprised expression said in pleasant surprise, "Little friend Chui, why are you here? Old brother Chen doesn't welcome you." Suyu laughed, then, he complained, "Old brother left too quickly. I only remembered the next day that I needed your help with something, causing me to think of this matter. I spurred my horse to chase after him through the night. These few days, I didn't eat well or sleep well on the road. I didn't even pass by a few large cities. Help." "This," the old man hurriedly said, "Little friend Chui, what kind of problem did you encounter?" Suyu said helplessly, "A few days ago, when I was forging weapons, Master Zhao Li said that I was too hot-tempered. If this goes on, it will be difficult for me to reach the Earth rank in 3 to 5 years. I didn't think that it was too fierce and hot-tempered. However, Master Zhao said that it would be best for me to cleanse myself and calm down my anger. The most suitable place for the human realm is the tranquil heart spring. Suyu sighed and said, under normal circumstances, I wouldn't bother to ask for help. I wouldn't feel comfortable even if I owe someone a favor. But this time, I hope that I can cast my weapon in the tranquil heart spring. I need to seal the tranquil heart spring for at least 1 or 2 days. He looked at the old man. He said helplessly, after thinking about it, I really don't have the face to do so. Only Brother Chen might have the face to ask the city lord to seal the tranquil heart spring for 1 or 2 days. As you know, the casting of weapons needs to be quiet, and some secret techniques cannot be spread out. So the best way is to seal the tranquil heart spring. The old man finally understood. No wonder he had to ask for his help. It was indeed not a small matter to seal the spring of tranquility for 1 or 2 days. He hesitated for a moment. Soon, he said, I'll try. It shouldn't be a big problem, but, young friend Shui might have to pay a price. After all, there are hundreds of people entering the spring of tranquility for cleansing every day. If we seal it directly, it might cause some dissatisfaction. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1497. 1497 Chapter 343, The Sun and the Moon Will Also Roll Away 5. Suyu said indifferently, It's not a big deal. I came here this time to forge weapons, but not for weapons, but to improve myself. On the day of the blockade, those who want to come in, sign up. In the end, I'll choose one of them and give him the forged weapons. Who has any objections? At the very least, he'll be at the high level of the mystic rank. If he's lucky, he'll be at the peak of the mystic rank. I'll give one of them to the lockdown every day, and 2 of them every 2 days. In addition, I'll have my own thanks for the city lord's residence. How about a peak-level mystic rank scribe? Once these words were said, the old man was speechless. Little friend spending is absolutely not a problem. If this news gets out, there will probably be thousands of people who signed up that day. Even this old man wants to sign up. Suyu laughed and said, It can really cleanse my body and make me calm down. It might be my hope to step into the earth rank. A few weapons are nothing. Of course, it might be easier to forge a martial soldier. It's easier to forge a martial soldier than a literary soldier. The killing intent is also stronger. It can wash away my anger better. The old man hurriedly said, This is no problem. When will little friend Shui need to use it? We'll start tomorrow morning. Suyu smiled and said, After this matter is settled, I still have to go somewhere else. I've been rushing around for a few days because of this. Alright, I'll go to the governor's mansion immediately. If young friend is willing, we can go together. The governor will agree. It's just a small matter. If young friend can really become an earth rank in Jingxin City, that would be even more amazing. The governor will personally come to congratulate you. Earth rank is difficult. My strength is a little lacking. Suyu chuckled and said, If I can enter Lingyun this time, then there's still some hope. If I don't enter Lingyun, there's almost no hope. The difficulty is too great. That's true. The old man nodded and sighed. It's indeed very difficult. For you to be able to reach the peak of the cast Xian level in the soaring realm is already very terrifying. I'm the one who spoke nonsense. The two of them chatted for a while before Suyu followed the old man to the city lord's manor. The role of the weapon forging master was fully displayed at this moment. I have friends here. Their status was not low. Before this, Zhao Li was at the peak of the black rank. Of course, he was a little stronger than the average person, but his status was also very high. It was not just because of the 4th generation. With the Great Xia manor like this, the Great Jin manor would not be too different. As expected, after entering the city lord's manor, the Jingxin city lord was very strong. The Shanhai realm was also to prevent accidents from happening. The Jingxin spring was a treasure ground, and the city lord was also very strong. Under normal circumstances, only the top cities would have a city lord. Jingxin city was not big. When he heard that Suyu wanted to forge weapons and seal the Jingxin spring, but the weapons he forged would be given away, the city lord did not say anything and swiftly passed down the order. From tomorrow onwards, the Jingxin spring would be sealed for 1 or 2 days until Chui Lang finished forging. This was not to drive away guests, but to attract them. Just by registering, there was a chance of obtaining a peak mystic rank weapon. Who wouldn't be willing? As for waiting for 1 or 2 days, what was the big deal? After this, there might be other weapon forging division that would do the same. After a few times, this place might become a holy land for weapon forging. Of course, it was just a thought. But for a peak mystic rank weapon forging division like Chui Lang to come and forge weapons, it could also be considered as giving Tranquil Heart City a reputation. There was almost no hesitation or consideration. As for the general saying that he did not allow people from the Great Xia Mansion to wash their blood and qi, what did it have to do with him? They were not in the same system. As the city lord, he was directly responsible to the city lord. Moreover, Chui Lang was not from the Great Xia Mansion. He was a genius from the Great Ming Mansion. The city lord's mansion was very fast and efficient. Very soon, the news spread in the small Jingxin city. If one registered, there was a chance of obtaining a Xian grade weapon. And it was a peak grade weapon. Xian grade. Even if it was just the beginning, it was still astonishingly expensive. A literary soldier was worth over 1,000. At the peak of the Xian grade, tens of thousands was normal. Ordinary mountains and seas wouldn't be able to afford it. Now that he had obtained it, even if he couldn't use it, he could still sell it and make a fortune. Although it wasn't custom-made and the effect was a little bad, it was still better than nothing. If it was to create a martial weapon, then the warrior could use it. Of course, the price was also much lower, probably only 1/5 of that of a civil weapon. No matter what, it was a joyous occasion. As expected, no one cared about being locked up for a day or two. On the contrary, they were all very excited. The next day, June 12th. Suyu was accompanied by a few weapon forging divisions in the city. The city lord personally came to send him into the Tranquil Heart Spring, and the treatment was extremely high. After chatting outside for a while, Suyu quickly walked into the Tranquil Heart Spring alone. Just like a secret realm, Suyu stepped through a thin layer of membrane, avoiding the interference of the outside world, and instantly entered a new world. A huge spring pool continuously surged with spring water. Suyu lightly exhaled and smiled. His identity as a weapon forging division was still useful. Otherwise, even if he could enter, there would be many people. He did not say anything and quickly jumped into the pool. This time, Suyu instantly felt a special power washing over his body. The spring water was originally very clear, but in this instant, it was dyed red. Blood red. The amount of blood qi Suyu had absorbed was too much. Even with the blood word, there was no way to eradicate it. Even if he knew the purifying origin technique, his body was inevitably stained with countless amounts of blood qi. It had already seeped deep into his bones. The enormous spring pool was rapidly dyed red. If an outsider were to see it, they would probably be terrified. How many people had he killed, or how much blood essence had he devoured, to have such a dense amount of blood qi? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1498. 1498 Chapter 343 The sun and the moon will also roll away 6. Suyu used the spring water to wash himself as he began to cast his weapon. He had to cast it more or less to avoid suspicion. As for the blood color, it didn't matter. The spring water had the function of self-purification. It was just that there was too much blood qi on Su Yu's body, so he was dyed red for a moment and would soon dissipate. This spring water was a good thing, but unfortunately, it could only be used here. Without the tranquil heart spring, it would not be of much use. As Su Yu forged his weapon, he washed himself while continuing to extract the heaven yuan qi from his blood essence. He took this opportunity to wash it together. He had too much blood essence in his hands. That fellow Xia Huyo had bought his heaven yuan qi. He had not paid for it, but had used his blood essence to purchase it. In the pool, the color of blood became more and more intense. As for Su Yu's blood divine script, it was extremely active at this moment. Su Yu threw it into the pool to wash his body. This divine script absorbed too much blood, so it was actually a little mixed. But now, it was being washed until it became even brighter. Vaguely, it was about to advance to Tier 4. The blood divine script was the first to advance to Tier 2, the first to advance to Tier 3. And now, it might be the first to advance to Tier 4, becoming a true mountain in sea divine script. As Su Yu forged his weapon, he nourished the divine text, extracting the heaven yuan qi from his blood essence and washing his body. The tranquil heart spring indeed gave him a feeling of cleansing his mind. Here, even the anger in his heart had lessened. Time slowly passed. The blood-red color in the pool gradually dissipated. A day passed, and Su Yu forged a martial weapon, with 67 golden inscriptions. The next day, Su Yu forged another weapon without leaving. On this day, at night, Su Yu forged another weapon with 66 inscriptions. However, it did not have any additional characteristics and needed to be matched. At this moment, the pond water was no longer red. Su Yu had also extracted more than half of his blood essence and did not extract the rest. Su Yu felt as if he had been relieved of a heavy burden. After cleansing himself, he felt that he had become much more relaxed and his willpower had become more active. Faintly, he had signs of entering Ling Yun. I'm about to enter Ling Yun. Su Yu had a faint feeling in his heart. When he had helped Zhao Li cast his weapon, there were actually signs that he was about to advance. It was just that he had used the God-expanding hammer to suppress his pressure later on. And today, naturally, there were signs that he was about to advance. This spring water did not have much of an effect, but it had alleviated a lot of Su Yu's pressure. Once the pressure was released, Su Yu felt that he could no longer suppress it. Could it be that I have to enter Ling Yun here today? The civilized master Ling Yun wasn't the physical body Ling Yun. To Su Yu, the civilized master Ling Yun had already met the requirements for his divine aperture and divine script. The only thing he didn't meet was his willpower. It wasn't too difficult, but the real difficulty was his physical body. Moreover, the civilized master path didn't open the 360 divine aperture. Su Yu felt that perhaps it wasn't perfect, but he didn't care too much about it now. If he really entered Ling Yun, there probably wouldn't be any abnormalities. The appearance of the 5 elements formula last time caused the abnormalities. The other abnormalities were all caused by the physical body. I'm about to advance, then. I'll just let nature take its course. This time, Su Yu didn't suppress it anymore. If he advanced, so be it. After entering Ling Yun, his ability to conceal was even stronger. Not to mention that he could hide it from invincible, with Ling Yun's willpower and divine inscriptions reaching level 4, coupled with the Mountain Ox 100 Paths divine talisman. Sun and Moon probably wouldn't be able to notice his abnormality, right? Su Yu took a light breath and started forging another civil weapon. He had a feeling that after this successful forging, the civil weapon would become even stronger. At the same time, he would also be able to successfully advance to the next level and officially become a Lingyun realm civilized master. The forging started once again. As for him, he had already stayed here for 2 days and 2 nights. At the same time, outside, many people were also anxiously waiting. Why didn't he come out? The city lord of Tranquil Heart City was also somewhat anxious at this moment. He couldn't help but say, "Old Chen, is Chui Lang still not finished forging? The forging of a Xian-grade weapon doesn't need to be so long, right? A long period of lockdown wasn't a good thing either. 1 or 2 days was fine, but it had already been 2 days and 2 nights. Old Chen was also depressed. He could only say, he might have some enlightenment and delayed some time. Very soon. Then why don't we send someone in to take a look? That won't do. Weapon forgers forge weapons. Their methods are unique. Outsiders are not allowed to enter to spy on them. This will offend others." As he was speaking, a figure appeared in front of them and said coldly, "Then how about I go in and take a look? I've said before that people from the Great Xia Mansion are not allowed to enter." "City Lord Liu, do you think my words are bullsh*t? The governor frowned slightly and said, "Greetings, General Zhang. Chui Lang is a genius weapon forging master from the Great Ming Mansion. He is not from the Great Xia Mansion." "Humph, he was in the Southern Yuan. My son went missing in the Southern Yuan." "No, he is already dead." The eyes of the person who came were cold as he looked at the secret realm of the Tranquil Heart Spring. He said coldly, "I've tracked him down. The person who killed my son may have left the Great Xia Mansion and come from the north. This Chui Lang is also a suspect. He didn't come to the Tranquil Heart Spring earlier and didn't come to the Tranquil Heart Spring later. Now, he is here." "General Zhang." Master Chen frowned and said, "Sometimes, the weapon forging division needs an opportunity. Chui Lang coming to the Tranquil Heart Spring is an opportunity." Without waiting for him to finish, the general didn't care about him and flew directly to the Tranquil Heart Spring. Master Chen shouted in a low voice, "How dare you? In the path of weapon forging division, you dare to spy on the path of weapon forging. General Zhang, you are a sun and moon, but you have to consider the consequences." The general ignored him. He wanted to go in and see if Chui Lang was cleansing his blood and qi. He suspected that Chui Lang had something to do with his son's death. Otherwise, how could there be such a coincidence? Just as he opened the entrance to the secret plane, an angry shout was heard, "Get out! Bastard! F***ck. Is a strong man so great?" At this moment, many people saw that on the huge pool, a hammer had 70 golden patterns on it. On Chui Lang's body, his willpower was boiling. There was a sign of advancement. Su Yu was furious. In fact, he had already recognized the person, but he did not care. He said angrily, "Bastard! If I fail to advance to the next level, I will not rest until I die." Boom! His willpower exploded. A huge hammer kept hammering the civil soldier. Su Yu roared, "F***ck your ancestors. I might be able to advance to the next level. You deserve to die." At this moment, Master Chen and the other weapon forging division members' expressions changed. 70 inscriptions. The 71st inscription was taking shape. Master Chen roared, "Zhang He, get out here. Do you want the weapon forging division to fight you to the death?" General Zhang's expression also changed. He was about to advance. Furthermore, he was forging a scribe with more than 70 golden inscriptions. His expression changed, and he quickly looked into the pond. Not daring to stay any longer, he hurriedly said, "I'm sorry, it's a misunderstanding." With that, he quickly exited the secret realm. At this moment, the outside world was already in an uproar. 70 golden patterns. This. It can't be that he's really going to forge an earth soldier here, right? Someone exclaimed, someone said softly, "It's over, if we fail this time, this." The weapon forging lineage isn't weak either. An earth rank weapon forging master is an incredible figure. The sun and moon have offended an earth rank. I think General Zhang is in big trouble. General Zhang's expression changed again and again. He really was forging weapons. Furthermore, he had used this opportunity to make a breakthrough. This was indeed a big trouble. He had thought that it was just an excuse. Now that he was really in trouble, he prayed that he wouldn't fail. Otherwise, the weapon forging lineage might want to ban him, they might even ban the Great Gold Mansion. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1499. 1499 Chapter 344, Wave of Chui Lang Qiu. Subscribe, 1. Su Yu's angry curses were still reverberating in the air. Outside the tranquil heart spring, the weapon forging division all had anxious expressions on their faces. Many of them glared at General Zhang. The weapon forging division actually couldn't be considered as a whole. However, there were too few weapon forging division members. In order to maintain their status and importance, they were still rather united. If there were too few of them, they wouldn't be united. Could it be that they were prepared to work for free? Including the Tianzhu king, the entire human realm weapon forging division was united. If they weren't united, they wouldn't have any status. Without status, and authority, how could they still be considered weapon forging division? At this moment, an Earth-rank weapon forging division that was about to advance was interrupted by someone. Although Chui Lang was still forging, everyone knew that if anything went wrong during the forging process, it would be easy for him to fail. Sometimes, weapon forging depended on luck. If he failed this time, he might never have the inspiration again. General Zhang's expression was also unsightly. Unlucky. However, he really suspected Chui Lang. These few days, he had been tracking down the people in the southern Yuan. He had obtained all the information about the people in the southern Yuan that day, including some invincible descendants. However, there were some people that he had yet to investigate deeply. Even so, he had some clues these few days. Following the direction of the blood qi that spread after his son was killed, he burned a lot of his bloodline to investigate. After all, he was the son of the first wife, so the bloodline connection was very strong. Only after tracking all the way to the north of the Great Xia mansion did the aura fade away. He judged that the murderer had probably left the Great Xia mansion and headed north. And there weren't many people heading north these days. Of course, there were actually quite a few. Including Zhou Hongba and the others, they also headed north and returned to the Quest realm. Sealing off the tranquil heart spring was just a glimmer of hope. In the end, Chui Lang just had to come at this time, and he was one of his targets. How could he not suspect? According to what he knew, this Chui Lang had just arrived that day and his son had died that night. Even though Chui Lang had an alibi, a civilized master had too many tricks up his sleeves. Who knew what was going on? Who knew if it was just a cover-up? Thus, he rushed back in a hurry. He had been impatient just now and wanted to go in to take a look, but who knew that the other party was really forging weapons. Furthermore, it was at a crucial moment. It was clear that the other party was using the tranquil heart spring. It was possible that the other party was really using it to advance to Earth-tier weapon forging master. But now, he had interfered with the other party's weapon forging without any evidence. It was a huge headache. Intentionally interfering with the advancement of a weapon forging master would cause the entire weapon forging path to reject him. In fact, it might even cause the only heaven forging master to reject him. Even the heaven forging king might find out about this matter and punish him accordingly. As for whether it was Chui Lang or not, he wasn't sure. Chui Lang's motive was very small. If it wasn't for Chui Lang killing his son, he would have offended a bunch of people for no reason. At that moment, General Zhang frowned as he looked at the tranquil heart spring helplessly. He sighed faintly. Wasn't it difficult to find evidence now? If it was Chui Lang, he would still have a chance of finding evidence before entering the tranquil heart spring. But now, the other party had been inside for so long. He had only entered to investigate in a moment of anger. In fact, it was not the first time. What was the point of entering? General Zhang was truly regretting it now. The gains outweighed the losses. And at that moment, outside the tranquil heart spring, the void shook as yuan qi churned and boiled. It was not an anomaly but a weapon. The weapon had absorbed a large amount of yuan qi. At that moment, the yuan qi in the tranquil heart spring was insufficient and needed to be gathered from the outside. The tranquil heart spring was not a powerful mystic realm to begin with. Otherwise, it would not have been torn apart by a random sun and moon. At that moment, the barrier was already faintly discernible. Su Yu could be seen faintly. Su Yu's shirt shattered once again as he held a huge hammer in his hand. He hammered repeatedly as his willpower seethed. One could vaguely hear him cursing. Cursing crazily. This was the same as a cultivator breaking through the sun and moon and being interrupted midway. It was the same logic. Anyone would go crazy. To put it more seriously, it was an irreconcilable feud. Fortune didn't come every day. If he couldn't break through today, perhaps he wouldn't have the inspiration and fortune he had today for a few years or even decades. He would be stuck at the peak of the mystic rank weapon forging master. Hong Long. He continued to forge weapons. The scene wasn't as grand as Zhao Li's, but the commotion wasn't small either. Gradually, the barrier of the tranquil heart spring was about to be broken through, and Su Yu's figure became clearer and clearer. Blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth as he spat out blood to forge. Su Yu could faintly see outside, and when he heard the sounds coming from outside, he felt some lingering fear. Fortunately, the blood qi problem had been resolved in advance, or else he would have been in a lot of trouble. At this moment, his sea of will was seething. As for forging weapons, to be honest, he was strong enough, and there was no such thing as failure or failure. He wasn't inspired by a stroke of inspiration, but Zhao Li had given him this foundation and confidence. If he was strong enough, he could forge earth weapons. It's best to forge earth weapons. As for tricking this general, there wasn't much meaning. The status of a mystic rank weapon forging master wasn't too high, at most comparable to the mountains and seas. Only earth ranks had the right to be on equal footing with the sun and moon, and even cursed so much that the sun and moon didn't dare to open their mouths. If the forging was successful, then it was best that he was full of confidence. If the forging failed, then it would be this general's fault. It was all your doing, I was the one who failed. Of course, even if he failed, he had to let people know that he would soon succeed in forging and advance to earth rank. Earth Soldier, the exclusive weapon of the mountains and seas and the sun and moon. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1500. 1500 Chapter 344, Wave of Chui Lang 2. Even if they had just entered the earth rank, they would be able to forge highly valued civil and military soldiers. When they reached the high and peak of the earth rank, it would be the sun and moon who would beg you to forge weapons. There might not be more earth rank weapon forging masters than invincible ones. There were about 50 or so human realm warriors, and the entire human realm of the mountains, seas, and sun and moon were counting on these 50 or so weapon forging masters to forge weapons for them. In the spring of tranquility, Su Yu forged again and again, but at this moment, he was exhausted. His sea of consciousness was still churning, and his willpower was increasing. In the next moment, a majestic willpower overflowed. Boom! The barrier suffered a blow, and his willpower overflowed. General Zhang's expression changed slightly. So strong. He had stepped into the Lingyun realm. This wasn't the key point. He had just entered Lingyun, and he was confident in forging earth weapons. Chui Lang's willpower was too strong. The fire-type divine script has a willpower comparable to the mountains and seas. He didn't enter Lingyun previously and was only able to fly. He shouldn't be as strong as he is now. However, he does have the fire-type divine script. His physical body. I can't tell for now, but since he can withstand the backlash, he shouldn't be weak either. The sun and moon rotated in his eyes as he looked at Su Yu. At this moment, he had some doubts because of Su Yu's breakthrough. Too strong. Forging an Earth soldier not only required experience and talent, it also required strength. Without the strength to forge an Earth soldier, there was no such thing as an Earth soldier. Back then, when Zhao Li was forging an Earth soldier, he was also at the later stage of Ling Yun. Cui Lang had only just entered Ling Yun. The willpower that he had just released did not seem to be inferior to the normal middle stage of Ling Yun. Is that you? General Zhang looked at Su Yu and fell into deep thought. There was no evidence or anything like that now. Cui Lang, who was at the 9th level of Ling Yun realm and the 9th level of the Soaring realm, had died that day. Was he confident that he could kill someone at the 9th level of Ling Yun realm? Why did he kill someone? These were all suspicious points. His son probably didn't know Cui Lang at all. Of course, it could also be someone else, such as those at the exploration realm. As for why he killed his son, could it be that his son had found out about the ruins? Or was it the Xia family? In short, at this moment, General Zhang's thoughts were rising one by one. Su Yu, who had just broken through, let out a low roar. His willpower soared. Following that, he let out a loud roar. With a loud bang, the living hammer's barrier shattered. On the literary soldier, the 71st golden pattern was officially formed. Outside, Master Chen clenched his fist and said nervously, 71 golden patterns have been successfully forged. If he can forge 72 golden patterns, he actually has a chance to forge 73 golden patterns and officially advance to Earth Soldier. 72 golden inscriptions, the peak of the mystic rank. Under normal circumstances, most of the blacksmiths at the peak of the mystic rank would not be able to forge 72 golden inscriptions. If he could forge 72 golden inscriptions, it meant that he was not too far away from Earth rank. 72 golden inscriptions could also be considered as half-Earth rank weapons, which were more popular than some Earth rank weapons. Of course, this could not be compared to Zhao Li's weapon. Zhao Li's weapon had both his divine inscriptions and the foundation of a heaven-grade weapon. Even if Su Yu had created an Earth weapon, it wasn't the same as that Earth weapon. It was at least a rank lower. Zhao Li's Earth weapon had 77 golden inscriptions and 9 golden inscriptions. Based on the 86 golden inscriptions, it wasn't overestimated. We must succeed. The few weapon forging divisions gathered together and looked at General Zhang warily. As for the city lord of Tranquil Heart Spring. At this moment, he quickly transmitted his voice, General Zhang, please don't cause any trouble at this time. If there's anything, we'll talk about it after it's over. Cui Lang is about to forge an Earth weapon, and the Great Gold Manor only has one Earth rank weapon forging division. If the Manor Lord finds out, we'll almost destroy one of them, neither you nor I can bear the responsibility, including the Tianzhu King's side. We can't account for it. General Zhang's expression was unsightly as he transmitted his voice, I know better than you. The city lord didn't say anything as he cursed in his heart. Know your grandpa. If you knew, would you still cause trouble? We borrowed the Tranquil Heart Spring, and the other party advanced. That was because the other party owed us a huge favor. It wasn't easy for me to give him a favor, but now, with you tearing it apart, there's nothing left. Originally, with this favor, not to mention letting the other party stay permanently, but after a year of Tranquil Heart City in a month of building an Earth army, Tranquil Heart City would soon become a more prosperous city. It was all destroyed by you. You lost your son, why did you investigate? Could it be that Cui Lang killed him? Why did you investigate him? General Zhang knew that someone was cursing him in his heart at this moment, so he didn't say anything and just watched in silence. As for leaving, even if there was a misunderstanding, he would have to wait for Chui Lang to come out of seclusion before he could explain. If he left now, it would be a grudge that couldn't be resolved. After waiting for another 2 hours, Suyu roared and smashed down with his hammer. With a boom, he was sent flying and broke through the barrier. He crashed out and quickly smashed into the crowd. Master Chen was also a Shanghai realm expert, so when he saw this, he quickly jumped into the air and caught Suyu. He crashed through the air and flew back a few steps. Suyu, on the other hand, was bleeding from his mouth. The blood dripped down. However, this blood was not his. At this moment, he was extremely cautious. After General Zhang had broken through the barrier and left, he had taken some true Chui Lang's blood and put it in his mouth. This was what Niu Bendao had taught him when he left. If he investigated, he would also be able to find out that this blood belonged to true Chui Lang. As for him, he would seal off true Chui Lang's aura and traces. Even if he could go back in time, this was true Chui Lang's blood. As for where he was, with his aura sealed off, it would be difficult for Invincible to track him down. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1501 1501 Chapter 344, Wave of Chui Lang 3. Seeing Suyu bleeding, General Zhang's heart moved slightly. Chui Lang's blood didn't belong to his son, so he couldn't actually find anything. However, with Chui Lang's blood, he might be able to analyze something. At this moment, he couldn't care much and quickly went forward to hold Suyu down. With an apologetic expression, he said, "Master Chui, I'm sorry. I was in a hurry just now and didn't have time to care much." His finger was stained with some blood. The blood instantly disappeared as if it had never existed. Suyu didn't say anything. He ignored him and looked at the hammer in the air. The 70-second golden pattern formed at this moment. The next moment, the 70-second golden pattern dimmed and the hammer fell to the ground. The weapon forging was over. Even the 70-second golden pattern wasn't perfect because Suyu was blown away. Even so, Master Chen was pleasantly surprised. The 70-second golden inscription is done, Half-Earth Soldier. The next time you forge a weapon, Brother Chui has a chance to advance directly. Suyu's face was extremely gloomy. He coughed and stood up. He picked up the hammer and looked at General Zhang with a gloomy face. Cough cough. I wanted to use the opportunity to break through to Lingyun to increase my willpower and forge 73 inscriptions. However, I was shocked and had to advance early. In the end, my forging failed. Suyu gritted his teeth and casually threw the hammer into the crowd. I'll give it to you guys. Damn it, my Earth soldier is crippled. He was furious. Meanwhile, the crowd had gone crazy. Half-Earth soldier. Crazy. Many people quickly rushed towards the hammer. Even General Zhang and City Lord Lu's eyes were sparkling at this moment. It was a good item. F***CK. It was really F***King willful. The weapon forging division was so willful. They didn't even want this kind of weapon. Although Chui Lang said that he would give away the weapon he forged this time, he didn't say that he would give away a weapon of this level. As for Suyu, he snorted coldly and said gloomily, "Originally, if I really advanced to Earth rank, I could also give away Earth soldiers. What I need is to advance and not these weapons." "General, aren't you going to give me an explanation?" General Zhang quickly said, "Master Chui, don't misunderstand. I was." Suyu interrupted him with a cold snort. "This time, I didn't go crazy because I thought that the next time I cast a weapon, I would definitely be able to advance to Earth rank. However, it doesn't mean that a simple misunderstanding will be enough." Master Chen didn't care about anything else. He quickly said, "Brother Chui, can you really complete the casting of Earth soldiers? Why don't we take a few days to recuperate? We can do it again." Next time, I will invite the sun and moon to protect Brother Chui. I was careless before. Without the sun and moon to protect the path, how can you forge the Earth Soldier? The most important thing is that I didn't expect you to forge the Earth Soldier at this time. Or else, I really should have looked for the sun and moon to protect the path and forge the soldiers. Zhao Li was one of them. He forged the soldiers in the Great Xia Mansion. Even so, there were still many sun and moon to protect his path and forge the soldiers. Su Yu suppressed his anger, he forced a smile and said, "Thank you, Brother Chen. There's no need to trouble yourself. Next time, if I really want to forge my weapon, I will also invite the sun and moon Dao to help me. This time, I have suffered a lot. I know why everyone wants to invite fellow Taoists from all over the world to forge their weapon. I was too young and suffered a great loss. Otherwise, if I had succeeded this time, I might have been able to enter the second or even third level of Ling Yun the moment I stepped into Ling Yun. Now, it's all ruined." Master Chen's face was filled with anger as well. He said in a low voice, "It's such a pity. This is a rare opportunity. When you advance your cultivation level, you will be able to obtain more feedback by forging the earth weapon. I think Brother Chui hasn't even advanced to the Divine Prose stage yet." Su Yu said helplessly, "There's no time. In the chaos, I can't control it anymore." His face was filled with frustration and anger. The other weapon forging division members were not as important as the sun and moon, but at this moment, they were also filled with anger and grief. Our weapon forging division's strength might be a little lacking, but we can't do this. In the middle of the weapon forging process, you, the sun and moon, go and cause trouble. And in the crowd, at this moment, a Mountain Sea Realm expert had snatched the hammer. Although the others wanted to fight for it, they still gave up. It wasn't good to fight like this. At this moment, that Shanghai was also delighted. What AF * King Prophet? It was a half-earth soldier. Of course, it was a literary soldier, not a martial soldier. The Great Khan was a fighter, but if he sold this literary soldier, it wouldn't be difficult to exchange it for an earth soldier martial soldier. 10 merit points for a weapon worth over 10,000 merit points, how could he not be happy? Hearing the conversation of the weapon forging grandmasters, he hurriedly said, "Master Chui, next time when you forge weapons, although I'm not strong, I'm just a mountain and sea. With just a word from you, I'll go and protect you. I'm from the Tianhua army of the Great Song Mansion, so feel free to say anything, and I'll be at your beck and call." Su Yu cupped his hands and forced a smile, "Thank you very much. I'm probably not in the mood recently." His face was filled with displeasure. General Zhang could only apologize at this moment. With an awkward expression, he smiled apologetically and said, "Master Chui, it's my fault this time. My son died in Great Xia Mansion in vain. I've been restless and often acted like a fool." Su Yu's expression changed slightly. I'm sorry for your loss." His expression changed slightly as he said, "I see. I've heard about it before, You're the general of the Great Jin Mansion, General Zhang He." "It's me." Zhang He also had a bitter expression. "I just rushed back from the Great Xia Mansion and heard that someone was washing his blood in the tranquil heart spring. I was impulsive and tore the barrier without thinking too much. I apologize to Master Chui again.